Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Discord Racing Association here at Gran Turismo 7. We are here in Stavelot, Belgium here for the FUELCAN.SHOP, 3 hours of Spa around this beautifully historic circuit. We are racing around the 24-hour layout, 4.352 miles, 004 kilometers. It is a high-speed balance of performance, which drivers can still tweak their settings a bit with ride height, with their brake balance, and their downforce settings. But for the most part, it is going to be more of a high-speed track. It is 19 corners around this very historic and very fun circuit. It is myself, Patrick Coleman, aka Rekkas, here in the commentary box alongside Taters. How are you doing today, mate?
Pretty good. Excited for this 3-hour race. Should be a fun one. A lot of passing. Very good track to race at for sure.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it's an endurance classic for a reason. There's multiple different endurance races that happen here. I know in motorcycle racing, there's I think a 8-hour race that happens here. Obviously, the 24 hours of Spa also happens, and then you have the 6 hours of Spa in the World Endurance Championship. We're taking it around for 3 hours here at the DRA WGTC round number 2. Last time we were racing at Bathurst, and now this time we are racing here in Spa. I mean, Spa is probably my favorite track of all time, if not one of them. And like you said, it's very good for overtaking opportunities. You can obviously have the run through or right after La Source and go through a Rouge and just try to get a move done on the Camel Straight. Very good overtaking opportunities. We're going to definitely have we're going to have a lot of replay heavy moments in this one.
Yeah, La Source is definitely going to be a big passing zone, especially lap 1, right after the start. Probably a lot of carnage down there. Definitely going to get a lot of moves on the Camel Straight and up through Radion as well.
Indeed, yeah, there's a lot of overtaking opportunities. Now, something that can be considered for Spa is that Spa is known for its ever-changing weather. But looking at our weather forecast, it is going to get cloudy. It's going to look like it's going to rain, but no rain is expected here. So it's going to be a dry race all throughout. So you don't have to worry about drivers kind of spinning it in the wet. So that's going to be good at least. I know some drivers are really just not fans of wet weather racing. And I mean, I get it. It's very tricky, especially around Spa. But the drivers don't have to worry about rain. They will have to worry about a bit of wind, though, because the wind right now is about 16.8 feet per second. In your experience, and if you were to kind of give anyone kind of a general feel about how this track tends to race, what kind of tips would you give them about, like, let's say if this is their first league race, which I know it's not for any of these drivers, at least that I'm aware of, but if there's a new league racer and Spa was their first track, what tips would you give them?
Probably just to be smooth and don't overdrive the corners. The AstroTurf on the outside of the curbs are really ruthless. They'll spin you right out. So probably just be smooth through the corners. It's definitely a driver's track. So you're really just going to have to, stay calm and just keep smooth around the track.
Indeed, yeah. Just keep calm and keep smooth. Definitely the best tips, honestly. And especially, I mean, I think, honestly, you could pretty much just use that general advice for anybody joining a league for the first time. Just keep your car, be smooth, don't do anything erratic, and just have fun with it. So we do have some drivers currently doing some practice laps around track while qualifying is getting situated. It is all GT3 cars here in this race here today. No LMP1s. This is specifically a GT3 championship. Although it would be cool to see GT3 and GT4 cars running the circuit simultaneously, but maybe in a future season. But for right now, it is the WGTC here in GT3, so all modern GR3 cars. We got the heads up from the lobby host that the race will be starting soon. And I know the GT Finland racers have been very strong here, so your Konen and your Roysko, which, considering it is a Finnish name, I probably mispronounced the name so heavily, but regardless, we know the GT Finland drivers are very strong. The pole time was actually a 2:15, which is a very rapid time here around Spa.
Yeah, it's the GT Finland racer cars definitely gonna be the ones to beat, but I want to definitely look at the Sour and Sweet team, the two Corvettes in this race. They've been fast. I believe we saw Matty win. I don't think he's in the race today, but we saw him win the prologue, and Bathurst. So definitely going to be a direct competitor to GT Finland racer, as well as the Ray Racing team.
Yeah, the Ray Racing team is a team that we have to really consider as well. I mean, you really can't count anyone out. The one predictable thing about racing is that racing in itself is unpredictable. So you know that something is going to happen, and it's going to be the thing you least expected. So, I mean, the GT Finland racers, I think, on pace are probably the team to beat. But I will say that it is... You're always going to have a bad race at some point. Nobody is invincible. Even in periods of dominance, there has been... The mighty have fallen before. So we may see that again here today at Spa. But like you said, there's a lot of good overtaking opportunities here in Spa. So it should be a good race. Should be a lot of fun, a lot of action. Don't think the cars are going to spread out too much here. They may have a little bit of a spread, but I think it's still going to be pretty close racing. The Corvettes are definitely going to be a team to keep an eye on, like you said. So the Corvettes and the Nissans are actually the Lexus, sorry, are probably going to be the drivers you want to keep an eye on. There is some new names that I haven't seen before. Flame Hayes, and I believe he's in a BMW. Yes, he is. He's in a BMW. So that'll be a driver to keep an eye on to see how he does. Watson in Ray Racing, also a driver that we could keep an eye on. Arps didn't have the greatest time in qualifying, but sometimes some drivers just don't have the greatest of qualifying. He was saying that his setup was a bit iffy earlier on, saying that he had a lot of oversteer, and as Taters and I were in the AM lobby for qualifying, which only had two drivers. It had Method and it had Arps. But with the setup change, he could turn his entire race around.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna... I mean, if I'd be at the back of the grid starting stone dead last, I'd definitely try and make some first lap moves, but not be too aggressive. I know there's probably going to be some other drivers making mistakes in the first lap, so just try and pick my battles and work my way through the field if I was starting last like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good advice. I mean, you really just got... It was kind of going back to what you were saying earlier, just kind of be smooth and be patient, and opportunities will come your way, so just don't try to do anything forceful, especially because it's a long race. Heavy damage is also a thing, so... The difference between that, if you're new to Gran Turismo, is that if you have heavy damage enabled, then if you get your car damaged, then you'll pretty much be suffering from that damage, whether it's your suspension or your aero. Pretty much the main points. Or you can also, if you hit a wall hard enough, you can actually damage your engine, which I have seen before. I haven't seen it here at DRA, but I have seen it before. And you lose about 70 or so-ish % of power. So lobby settings have been changed, so it did kick everybody back to the lobby. Everybody has to go ahead and enter on in, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the race. But yeah, if you have heavy damage, then one slight mistake can really force you into an extra pit stop that you really did not want to make. Light damage, on the other hand, if it was light damage enabled, you would have you'd have about 30 or so seconds of damage, and then you can just jump straight back to regular performance. But with it being heavy damage here, it really punishes mistakes.
Yeah, and speaking of pit stops, I'm very interested to see the strategy. I don't know how teams are going to split this up. I don't know if they're going to go by 30-minute increments or maybe 45. I usually try and do something related to the time, choosing my pit stop, but also interested to see who starts on mediums and who starts on softs. It looks like most of the field will be starting on softs.
Yeah, indeed. So, actually, I think they may think that you're actually racing. Which, if you can race and commentate for a 3-hour race at the same time, then I would be, first off, very impressed, considering that it is your first time on the commentary desk. But I mean, are you racing? Because that'd be pretty funny to have a commentator and racer. Yeah, I kind of figured. It's doable, but it'd be a really tricky task. I mean, it would definitely put the trackside into trackside reporter. So we're gonna get going here in a few moments, and actually right about a minute. So we're gonna get in about a minute. It'll be a formation lap, and then it'll be 3 hours of Daytona. Well, actually, it'll be 3 hours plus a formation lap in those 3 hours. So it could potentially be about 2 hours and 55 minutes of racing around here, considering that Spa has one of the longer outlaps on the calendar. But we will see how this all plays out, because I mean, there's so much that can happen. Somebody can mess up at the race start and the safety car get called out, because you are race director as well, so you'll be keeping an eye on the safety cars and calling them out if needed. So, I mean, it just takes one slight mistake to really change the entire dynamic of a race.
Yeah, and if last race is anything to go by, there's a lot of safety cars in that one, so we'll see. I think there was a safety car pretty early on in that one, so maybe we can get through the first few minutes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, and we're going to go ahead and get started here with the race. It is going to be 3 hours of racing once we officially go green, and then it is a formation lap here, so we'll go ahead and get started. Roysko is going to go ahead and take us through the first lap as a safety car, essentially. So we're going to go to get racing, and it's lights out and the formation lap is underway. So drivers will take this time to go ahead and get their tires all warmed up and ready to go. Let's actually go ahead and do a tire check real quick. See what everybody is on. So we have the soft. So already is on the mediums. Cameron Hill's on the mediums. So it looks like about a pretty even 50-50 split here. So half the lobby has opted to go onto the mediums, the other half has opted to go onto softs, roughly around that point. So, I mean, we know that the GT Finland racers are the drivers that you really want to look out for, and also the sweet and sour, or the Sabrina Carpenter cars, essentially the two Corvettes in P4 P5 are going to be drivers to watch out for. Flame Hayes, another driver who I haven't seen before. You might have seen him before because you've been around longer than I have, but I haven't seen Flame Hayes before.
No, I have not seen him, but he clearly had a very good qualifying session, starting P3.
So he might be a driver to go ahead and watch out for as well. So we're going to go ahead and get going racing here once we complete the formation lap. So interestingly enough, with this 24-hour layout, you actually... if you're doing a rolling start, you actually do start on that just right after La Source. So we're going to see how this one plays out. Hello to everybody in chat. We have Keith and Jalka. Glad to see you guys in chat. Be sure to drop a follow if you haven't already. And a massive shout out to our sponsor at FUELCAN.SHOP. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring the league. And they are the title sponsor of today's race. This is the FUELCAN.SHOP 3 hours of Spa, and I think we're going to be on board with 3 hours of just intense racing, good racing, but also, like you mentioned earlier, a bit of strategy as well.
Yeah, Spa's got pretty good tire degradation, a lot of technical section, definitely in the middle of the lap, and then fuel is also going to be a concern, especially for those Corvettes. They like to really guzzle up the fuel.
As American cars kind of tend to do. I know I believe we're both American. I'm pretty sure that's correct. So we are well aware of our cars are not exactly the most reliable when it comes to fuel. So I'm not super surprised to see that the Corvettes do kind of guzzle through fuel like a person on night shift just slamming a Red Bull. But I mean, it's still all to race for here. There's still a lot going on. So let's go and do a quick rundown through our field as we're about halfway through the formation lap. Roysko is going to go ahead and lead us to green, followed by his countryman of Ikonen, and then Flame Hayes, Aretti, Cameron Hill, Radasoja, Watson, Mazinger, Grotto, Method, and ARPS rounding out our grid here today. So it's going to be a good selection of cars here. Good variety. Do you think we're going to see some crazy dives into La Source, Taters?
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of aggressive drivers in this field, and I think right here, lap 1 is definitely going to be a big spot to see those aggressive dives.
Indeed, we'll see how it is all going to play out as Roysko is going to go ahead and lead us to green here very, very shortly. It's either going to be on this straight or shortly after La Source, I believe. Yeah, so they're going to go in formation. Once they get through La Source, I think we're going to go ahead and get started with this race here. It is round 2 of the championship. So we're going to go ahead and get racing here very, very shortly. We'll see when Roysko wants to put the hammer down. We're watching that throttle to see when he's going to go ahead and send it probably right across this line. We're going to go ahead and get racing here. And we are green here in Spa. The race has started. And these drivers are going to make their way up through a Rouge as we go ahead and just watch all these drivers navigate through this very historic corner. Everybody makes it through a Rouge very safely. Don't see any major positional changes. Granted that they didn't start until after La Source, so I guess our initial bet was wrong. But making his way here into the chicane, and he's going to go ahead and keep that position. There is a bit of contact. Looking through.
Couple cars off. One of the Sour and Sweet Corvettes, both of them made contact, Hill and Aretti, and Hill got the worst of it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and check that out on our replay. We'll see what happens here. So here is Cameron Hill now. Oh, he did make contact, and it just got kind of bumped around and then just into the wall. He's got front aero and front suspension damage on that Corvette, so that is 2 points of damage. Let's see about the other car on his team. Already, we'll see what he's got. He's got no damage, surprisingly. So only one car has 2 points of damage, which is an early pit stop. Start.
Already up to 4th.
Indeed, yeah, he's had a very good start here in this race.
And through all that, Flame Haze up to 2nd as well, got past Aikkonen.
Yeah, so Aikkonen is doing, I mean, he's been a very strong driver this season, but Flame Haze, a driver that was essentially a unknown coming into this race, has actually done very well. He is up into P2, like you said, but he's still about a second adrift of Roysko here. Very good race. Oh, contact between Garado and Aretti, the two Italian drivers having contact. And I think that might be a safety car. Let's check it again on the replay. Safety car is out. The race director has called it. So let's get another look at what happened here. So Garado is going to go ahead. He just goes wide and then just plows it into the wall. And that is safety car number 1. Hopefully 1 of 1, but it is indeed a safety car. You can make emergency repairs in the pit lane, but that is the only thing you can do. You can't come in and change your tires. Hill did enter the pits, but he did have damage, so I'm pretty sure that is still allowed under regulation.
I don't know what happened to Grotto. I saw a couple cars go wide through Blanchimont, and I think Grotto just got on that AstroTurf and lost the rear.
Actually, from the replay, I'll look at the replay again, just to kind of look at it and see. So, looking at Garado, I think he actually went in the opposite direction of the AstroTurf. So, he got tapped by Radasoja and then just kind of went off into the runoff, the extra bit of tarmac off to the right side, and then spun into the AstroTurf, then putting it into the wall.
Well, product of Spa, very hectic start after the first few corners.
Indeed. We'll see about Cameron Hill. He did make a pit stop while the pits were closed, but I believe in the rules, if you have damage, you can fix the damage, but I think that's about it. Which actually means Garado should be able to actually go into the pits and fix up that damage he has on the Porsche. Oh, it looks like Arps and him had a little bit of contact under safety car conditions, so interesting stuff. But yeah, like I said, it has been a very interesting start. This is actually gonna put Flame Haze back into contention here, so do you think anyone's gonna make a pit stop here, Taters? Because I think Corrado is, just because of his damage, but I think overall he's probably gonna be the only driver to make a pit stop.
I wouldn't make a pit stop. If I was starting on the mediums, I'd try and go long. I wouldn't. This isn't a track where I just immediately try and get off the mediums as soon as possible. So I'd stay out if I had no damage.
Agreed. I'd probably also stay out. In this particular situation, unless I was Garado or Hill earlier where there was damage. Because yeah, driving up with that suspension damage is so painful, because your car just pulls to the right in his instance, so his car just doesn't handle at its best. We'll just say that. It's very tricky to drive a car with suspension damage, especially at any kind of competitive pace. You might as well just forget about it.
Yeah, the car tends to want to like drift in that direction the suspension damage is on, so it's really hard, especially going through corners on the same side as the suspension damage. It's really hard to turn in.
Indeed, yeah. So I think he's probably going to be the only one to make the pit stop. I don't foresee anyone else jumping into the pits, especially because, I mean, another thing too that we should talk about when it comes to the pit stops is that Spa is a generally very long pit stop. The Spa pit stop is arguably one of the most egregious when it comes to like how long it takes in the pits. Not as bad as Le Mans, I'd say, but it still takes a very long time for the pit stops to happen here at Spa, so we'll see how it plays out. We'll see who goes into the pits. I think everybody's staying out. Garado's in. He's got damage, though. So I think everybody else is going to be in. We'll do another lap under safety car conditions. We'll wait for Garado to get back up to the back of the pack before we can go ahead and get started with the race again. It is under safety car conditions, so that's why all of our drivers are looking pretty slow around here, is because, well, they are driving slow. Safety car conditions pretty much limit them to, I believe, around 80 kilometers an hour, or in this case, about 60 miles per hour. 62, 63.
Corrado changing tires as well.
Which could be an interesting call, honestly. It could be an interesting one, to say the least. But he went on another set of soft tires. You do have to use both tires at some point. You have to use the medium, you have to use the soft tire. The hards aren't allowed, as far as I know. But you are required to use the medium and the soft tires, so... I mean, but then again, you still have a lot of racing left to go. There's still a lot of time to go ahead and switch to the medium compound tire, so it's not... I mean, honestly, you're probably going to use multiple sets of both compounds, I'd imagine, so... It just depends on what their stint plan is. I know their stint plan kind of got upended by the safety car, but that's just something you can't always predict. You can't always predict when a safety car is going to go ahead and spot in. I mean, you can't predict what's going to happen on track. Like I said earlier, the only predictable thing about racing is the fact that it is unpredictable. As we saw earlier, we were kind of expecting a bit of an incident early on, but we were thinking it was going to be at La Source. We weren't thinking it was going to be right there toward coming up to the bus stop.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd place for a big crash to happen, especially contact between two cars. Usually it'll be maybe one car losing it.
It's kind of a weird spot. I think he just took a bit too much curb and then it unsettled his Porsche and it just kind of spun it around. I'm actually going to ask about that, because I think Garado could have actually pitted in earlier. He could have pitted ahead of hill because of the damage, but he didn't. So we'll see. I think we should be green either this lap or the next. I think this lap we should be green. I mean, that's obviously going to be up to the race director for when he wants to send us to green again. But I think in general, I think we should be green. Once again, I'll let you confirm that. What we can confirm is that the sun has set here in Belgium. It is now dark, it is cloudy, but no rain, so drivers will not have to worry about rain. There is no, I mean, Spa is one of the few tracks in Gran Turismo that does have rain, but it is no rain for this race, so it'll be dry conditions throughout. It'll look menacing, it'll look like it's about to get cloudy, or it's about to rain, but the rain will not come. It is just dry racing all throughout, which will be a relief, because some of these cars handle better than others in the wet. Like, I think the GTR would be a bit of a better car in the wet weather conditions, but we'll see. The drivers will obviously know more than we will here in the commentary box. If you see the please refuel thing on your screen, ignore that. That is just a bug that happens with the replay system. To be honest, I'm not sure why, but it just tends to happen. If you use the keyboard replay system, it does tend to have issues. Actually, sometimes they could break the entire lobby. I've seen that happen before. Hopefully that won't happen this time around. I think it actually did happen in Daytona, I want to say, but we'll see how it goes. There it goes. It is cleared up. So how's chat doing today? How are you guys doing today? I mean, I'm doing fantastic. It's good to be here for DRA. Good to be here for a good race. Good to have Tater alongside me for this 3-hour race. And I mean, speaking from personal experience, it is much easier to do or have a co-commentator in here than not. But hey, we're back racing. What do you know? We are back green here. It is time to go racing. And Roysko, in these pitch black conditions, is navigating very nicely. We're going to jump on board to just the driver cam for a bit, just to kind of see what he's seeing. And it is pitch black outside. So, a few lights around the circuit, but there's a lot of areas where, oh, a bit of a snap for Roysko there, but he saves it. That was terrifying to watch there for the GTR. Actually, let's get a look at it.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Manzinger just had a nice restart, got up to third again. Past Ikonen. Ikonen losing a couple spots in these restarts.
Indeed, yeah, it's been pretty unfortunate for Ikonen, but very good for Mazinger there. Just the Spaniard jumping up into third, and now he's trying to chase down Flame Haze. I mean, this is definitely seems to be a track that he really likes, although we know that the Mercedes is a car that can do really good in high-speed conditions, but, I mean, man, he has been having the race of his season here at Spa.
Big battle back towards 8th. Both the Ray Racing cars battling, and then Garato's going to make up a position. He's already made up 2 positions in the restart. Oh, who is this? Manzinger.
It's Mazinger who's had an issue. We'll pop a replay. We'll see what happened here. Did he get tapped by Ikonen there? Got it. Gets onto the curb. He did get hit by Ikonen, but looking at the replay, that wasn't the cause of the spin. He kind of lost it on his own and then collected Ikonen, so that is unfortunate there. As we see already, and Ikonen battling it out through the bus stop chicane, making away to La Source, and Flame Haze has been doing pretty good, but he is still about a second and a half behind, but he is 5 seconds out of third.
Commentator's curse. Unfortunately, we start talking about Mazinger, and he has I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah, that's 100% a commentator's curse. You're first of probably many, Tater. Yep. So you might as well get used to it. It happens all the time. That's just how racing works. Dread it, run from it. The commentator's curse will always arrive. And man, that's really unfortunate. He does have he's got suspension damage on his car. It's 1 point of damage, so it's only that front right suspension. It's gonna make things a bit crappy for him initially, but he'll be able to probably make it into the pits. Somehow he was credited by having a purple sector 1 by about 5/10. That is interesting, but I guess we haven't really had a full lap under green conditions. Not really, because pretty much right at the end of that first lap, there was, because typically when you have a formation lap, it's lap 3 that you really get like the fast laps, but lap 3 was under a safety car, so I guess that makes sense. Let's jump back up here to see some very good battles, but Conan did get past already now, but here's the thing, can Conan jump up and try to go out to Flame Haze, or do you think he needs to try to pass it on strategy?
6.2 seconds is a lot of time to gain, but it's a 3-hour race. I'd try and close that gap down and maybe get some more help with the pit stop. But Flame Haze has got pace, and Ikkonen's not really gaining a lot. He's actually losing time right now.
Yeah, and he's pulling away from Areti just behind him in the Corvette, but we'll see. It also just kind of comes down to the management, the resource management of these cars, because when it comes to racing, the first thing that you'll really want to kind of get to grips with is pace. Obviously, you obviously want to be quick, you want to be consistent, but you also want to learn about fuel management, especially when you go through like endurance racing in particular. Management in general, managing your tires, managing your fuel, and just from my time as a commentator, and I'm sure even for you too as a driver, from driving different cars in different series, each car has its own separate quirks when it comes to management, like you were talking about earlier. The Corvette guzzles through fuel, and some other cars I've seen where, like, we don't have one on the grid, but the Alfa Romeo 4C, for example, is excellent on fuel management, but it struggles on top end. So each car really has its own pros and cons when it comes to management, and that might actually play a factor into this race.
Yeah, just looking at the fuel mileage right now, it's actually not the Corvette that has the worst. It's the Audis. They are not doing very well on fuel management, almost about a quarter of a tank gone for both of them.
Another thing that you can actually think about too when it comes to fuel management is there's this really cool thing that's in Gran Turismo. I haven't seen it in many other simulators or platforms, whatever you like to refer to them as, and especially not to the same level of detail, but you can actually adjust your fuel mapping. So if you want to run less fuel, you can set it anywhere between 1 and 6, with 1 being full power and 6 being full lean. So basically what that means is if you're running a leaner fuel load, you'll lose a pretty good amount of horsepower, admittedly, but you'll save more of that on fuel, so you'll use up less fuel at the cost of less speed, which you can make up less speed with pit stops. On the other hand, you just go faster and use up more fuel, so it's kind of a give and take. Most drivers will opt to go for the 1 and just go full fuel or full speed and just full usage of fuel, but yeah, we're actually seeing a full push now from Flame Haze in P2, trying to push Roysko now. He was actually really close with them through the bus stop, but I think Roysko did have a bit of a better exit out of the bus stop, so that is going to put a bit of a gap, but Flame Haze has been doing fantastic here in what is his debut race here at the DRA, putting a lot of pressure onto, it's a driver I've never seen before, but we know that the GT Finland racer team is arguably one of the strongest teams in DRA. So we know that their team is quick, but Flame Haze, who I'm not even sure if he is part of a team, is putting a lot of pressure onto GT Finland racers. Because you got to think too, there's potentially team captains and team owners that are watching these races, potentially looking for drivers to represent them in other series. A team that I know of, 9PP, actually just started recruiting drivers. So if I was recruiting for drivers, I would see the pressure that Flame Haze is putting on in his essentially debut race onto a team that is known for being ridiculously quick, and say, you know what, I might need this guy.
Well, I'm definitely very impressed by Flame Haze. As a team owner myself, I might have to see his availability. because he is just completely. He doesn't care that the GTFR cars are the best of the grid. He has just put a lot of pressure on Roysko.
Yeah, he's putting on so much pressure. And I mean, he's not really, because sometimes, you know, they always say that pearls are formed under pressure, but so are mistakes. C2, we have 2 points of contact here for ARPS. Yeah, he's got some suspension damage. Let's go ahead and see, we'll see what happened here to the British driver. It's kind of tricky to see. Oh, he's already had damage, so that's very delayed. We're not going to see that, unfortunately. Even with the full 15 seconds of playback we get through the replay. Yeah, and it's throwing us the fuel thing again, which it happens. It'll probably clear once these drivers come across the line. But here's the thing, though, and it may actually also just be for a bit of a setup. Now, I haven't seen a lot of the GTR run, so I'm not exactly sure where it stands when it comes to straight line speed and such. But I know the M6 is quick on the straight line. And maybe we're seeing a bit of a trade-off here where the BMW is quicker on the straights, like out of the source going through Raidillon and Eau Rouge. But then you have, and also not to mention the Camel Straight, but then you have the Nissan, which does better when it comes to the corner. So maybe it's a bit of a trade-off.
Could be. I know the GTR used to be the best Group 3 car. I don't know. It's probably changed by now. They've kind of nerfed a lot of the Group 3 cars, made them a lot more equal, but the GTR was definitely better in the corners when it was at its peak.
Yeah, and I know a few drivers who like the GTR. A good friend of mine who used to race for Exodus Motorsports, he went by the name of Venomous Roman. He was very quick in the GTR. He did like the GTR, but he also liked the BMW a lot too, and I know both cars are very strong in their own right. I know the Mercedes is a pretty strong car. The Audi can be a strong car as well. If it's a race about management, then the 4C is really good in that aspect. But yeah, that's the thing I like about GT3 is that the cars are pretty equal for the most part, but there's also a lot of strengths and weaknesses that come with specific cars. Like, I mean, looking at this battle here for P4 between Already and Rajasoja. With Rajasoja, his car is going to be better on management, but I think Already's is going to be better on straight line speed. So, once again, another trade-off here, but it still does not stop Rajasoja from putting on a ton of pressure onto the back of Already here in the battle for P4.
Noticing battle for P7 as well, Method and Hill, they've been going at it for a few laps. A lot of contact, though.
Yeah, oh, speaking of contact, I think Already and Rajasoja had a bit of contact here as well. A little bit of a light bumper tap, traded a little bit of paint, nothing major, no damage points on either car, but still going to be a spicy battle. Are we going to see a move into the bus stop? Nope, not this time around. Still a bit too early to potentially throw your race away due to that kind of incident, but we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a tough one to try to get a pass here because that Corvette is going to try to defend. And it's got a bit of an advantage on straight line speed. So it's going to be easier said than done. Back here. Actually, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, especially since the Lexus, it really has a deficit of straight line speed. Corvette's definitely the best on the straight line. But
Garado and Cameron Hill going side by side through La Source. And now they're making their way through a Rouge. We'll see if we're going to go ahead and get it. We'll see if we're going to get this move done. And he's going to stay close. These two have been pretty close ever since they both had to make pit stops. So I think pretty much these back four have all had to make pit stops already due to damage. Garado is on the soft tires. Mazingers is just directly behind in that Mercedes. He's going to go ahead and try to send it around the outside. Is this move going to stick? It might. The outside does become the inside. And what a maneuver from Mazinger. That is a beautiful overtake into the chicane. I mean, you don't really see a lot of moves through there. I mean, that's turn 5 and 6. You don't really see moves in there that often.
still has that damage as well, making that move even more impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very impressive. you got to give a lot of credit to this driver too, because visibility isn't the greatest right now. We'll actually hop on board with Mazinger and see what he's kind of looking at. It is nighttime here in Spa. It will return today at some point. So we still have a good amount of racing. It will return to the daylight as, oh, he's gonna get past Garado. Maybe? Oh, he did get past Garado, so Mazingers is back in the 9th. So good racing here. And oh, look how tight this pack is here in the back. You have Garado, Mazinger, Method, Arps, all really close to. Actually, no, Arps isn't close enough. I mistook that for a different car. But still, you have 3 cars here fighting it out. So, oh, Hill is the other car that I was seeing. I knew I saw a 4th car there somewhere. They're all jockeying for position. Garado goes into the grass, into the AstroTurf, spins, and somehow gets no damage and just kind of glitches through the other cars. Mazinger's got damage, but that was damage that was already sustained. But let's go ahead and look at that again from a different angle. So, here we go now. What happened with Garado? Oh, Mazinger got a bit wide. I think he tapped Method and then just a big slide that in real life would have collected those cars. But luckily it did not. But, whew, I mean, definitely a code brown moment for those drivers there who witnessed that incident.
This battle for 8th isn't done yet either. Mazinger's got to run on Method here.
Yeah, we've been on board with this battle for quite some time, and for good reason, because it's getting very spicy. Mazinger, who still has that front suspension damage, or what happened there? It looked like a bit of a lag spike hit Method there. As Mazingers is still trying to go ahead and put pressure on the hill. He is actually up in the 8th now with that suspension damage, so I think he's just kind of dealing with it for now. I mean, he's been doing a very good job at it nevertheless, because, I mean, like you were saying earlier, driving with that suspension damage is tough. Because like you were saying earlier, it keeps wanting to pull your car from one direction to another, so it's tricky, but apparently it is manageable, and you're even able to still get some good overtakes here if you have the Spaniard, Mazinger here, so good race from him so far. Let's go jump back through the field a bit, see if there's any other battles. A battle for 4th is potentially brewing up as Radasoja is still trying to go ahead and get a move done onto already here in that Corvette, so it's going to be Corvette versus Lexus, and I mean, it's an interesting thing because the Corvette is obviously going to win out on straight line speed pretty much all the time, but it's going to lose out in the management war and also I think on corners. So this track really does allow for both sides to kind of really spring up and just show what they're made of.
Yeah, and Ranasoja's got the at least tire compound advantage. He's on softs, Reddy's on mediums, but Reddy's got better tire degradation.
As it typically goes with the soft tires. And if those of you who are maybe new to racing in general, well, first of all, welcome and thank you for choosing DRA to be your source to kind of learn about racing. We really do appreciate it. Be sure to drop a follow if you haven't already. That supports us big time. So a soft tire is basically, if you really want to think about it, the 3 main racing compounds are kind of like, it's like playing a game of rock, paper, scissors, right? As Radasoja actually does set a purple sector 1 in that Lexus, so he's getting a good tow there from the Corvette. So on Radasoja's car, if you look at the bottom left side of your screen, you'll see where it says RS. RS means racing soft. And with racing soft tires, it's essentially you get max grip but high degradation. And then you have the hard tire compound, which is RH, which we will not see in this race. That is a racing hard tire, so it's pretty much the opposite. You get low degradation, but less grip. And then you have the medium, which is kind of the 50-50. You get the best of both worlds there. So, but yeah. So looking at, and in this case, the medium does kind of take the place of the hard compound tire in this race because we only have the 2 compounds.
Looks like ARP's in the pits as well.
Yeah, the driver from Team Full Push isn't having the greatest of nights here. He's been very vocal about his setup not exactly being up to par or not to his liking. Yeah, I mean, it does happen. If you have a rough setup, then it's really gonna make things really tricky for you. So he's getting that damage fixed up on his car, getting some fuel. He actually did top off on fuel, so Arps is gonna go ahead and get back out on circuit. And we are we're over half an hour into this race so far. And I mean, we've seen some pretty strong action here, Tater. What do you make of the race so far?
It's been a fun one so far. The safety car definitely helped keep everyone bunched up. Got some good battles after we've gotten some green flag racing. Speaking of which, battle for 8th right now, Garado and Method. Garado's going to try and send it down the inside, turn 1. Big dive bomb, makes it work though. And Method spins him.
And he spins out. Oh. Alright, well, we're going to have to get that one on a replay, so we'll see what happened here. So, Garado, like you said, is going to make the dive bomb into La Source. Very clean, no contact. And then, he gets punted. He gets punted by Method. Method gets out of the corner a bit faster and just taps the back right of that Porsche and just spins him around like a merry-go-round. Now he's got front aero damage. As Mazingers is now actually going to finally get that suspension damage replaced and some new tires to boot.
Looks like maybe we're going to see some pit stops here, kind of like what I maybe said, splitting it up by 30 minutes. Wonder if Mazingers will go on to softs here. We saw Arps do that as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. We'll keep an eye on Mazinger for a bit. If you want to ever go on an onboard lap with anybody, directing this one to Twitch chat, if you ever want to just go on board with somebody for a full lap, just go ahead and let us know in the comments, and we'll go ahead and ride on board with the driver of your choice. And yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be interesting to see. So he did switch to the soft tires like you predicted, Tater. So, are you expecting a lot of the other drivers to try to make their pit stops now, or do you think there's going to be some drivers trying to push it to the 1 hour mark?
Well, I don't know exactly how long fuel is going to last here, but if I'm on the mediums, maybe down in like 8th or 9th or something like that, I might try and run long. But if I'm kind of up in the top 6 with mediums, I'm definitely going to try and pit pretty soon, get those mediums off, get the softs on, and fill up on fuel.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably, like, in this situation, I would probably try to, granted, fuel is going to be a big one. I would try to push it to where we're at the 1 hour mark. Like, we're about an hour of the way into the race, 2 hours left to go. I would try to aim for that, and then try to maybe go ahead and do a tire swap, but once again, that would really depend on the fuel situation. Because, I mean, so far, looking at Watson here, in the Ray Racing Audi R8, it looks like, because we were talking that fuel wasn't really a strong suit for these cars, so I think these cars might struggle to get to the 1 hour mark on this, on these, with the fuel load. So some of the other cars are a bit better on fuel, like Arps is still not happy with that setup. He's been having a bit of a rough time here with the setup. He's got 2 points of damage again. He's got the rear wing damage and the back right suspension damage, so that's gonna, I think it's a bit easier to kind of manage the back right suspension than it is the front right suspension when you got damage, but still, it sucks either way. Garado's into the pits. He's gonna go ahead. He did have front bumper damage from that moment earlier with Method, so that should be under investigation by the stewards post-race. Being a steward is such an unenviable job, honestly. I mean, I have much respect for the stewards, and I have much respect. I love what they do. That's not a job I'm taking any day soon if I can help it.
Just back to the fuel topic, I think maybe Ikonen and Radasoja, both the Lexus GT FR cars, could maybe stretch it on fuel, but their tires are not looking great. About halfway gone almost for the front tires on the softs.
Yeah, I mean, fuel-wise, I have no doubt that they can make it for the next 22 minutes. without making a pit stop. But yeah, like you said, the tires is going to be a big issue too, because both of them are running the soft tires. If they're on the mediums, then yeah, they'd have zero issue getting all the way to the end there on this, like, or getting at least to the 1 hour mark. But considering how much tire life they have, it really just goes to a point of diminishing returns. Because if you're gonna either lose time in the pits or on the track, and you really got to gauge which one you want to lose. You got to pick your poison essentially. Would you rather lose that time in the pit lane, or would you rather lose it on track? And honestly, I feel like the time you lose on track, because sometimes with tire degradation, you can lose like 1 to 2 to even sometimes 3 seconds a lap, depending on how much tire damage you have. And if your tires are fully bald, then Gran Turismo doesn't have punctures, but it certainly feels like you have one.
Definitely depends on the track type too, especially a technical track like Spa. Definitely going to play into the tire wear and how much time you lose on track.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. I mean, it's going to be interesting when it comes to just tire management and how all this plays out, because, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a point, but I know... Oh, we have a spin up front. That is Garado, I think, having a bit of a spin. He's got 2 points of damage, so we'll have to see what happened to him, but... Yeah, let's go ahead and watch this, because... Is it up against Method again? Oh, no, it's Mazinger. Let's see what happens here. Oh, he just kind of spins it on his own again in that corner, like we saw in lap 1. Just spins it again, getting on the AstroTurf, and just kind of rotating the car around too much.
Yeah, that's very... That looks kind of like maybe a setup problem. Very odd place to have one crash and then a second one. That might be a lack of downforce, because usually you can take that corner almost flat out in a GT car.
I mean, I think in most racing cars, I think you could even take it flat out. In the GR4 cars, I think you can still take that flat out.
Well, very unfortunate for him. He's had pace at times, but the damage has really hampered him.
Yeah, that's yeah, I mean, we know Corrado is a quick driver. We know that much, but yeah, like we were saying earlier, oh, there's a spin up ahead. That is... Oh, his wheel disconnected for ARPS. Man, this race just keeps going from bad to worse for the Lamborghini. That is...
2 points of damage.
Oh, that's... Oh, and it is a safety car. So that's going to back this pack up again. But yeah, it's... A wheel died for the Lamborghini. And it is safety car conditions. A lot of drivers getting multiple points of damage. Garado's got damage. And I believe the pits are going to be open for emergency service, but they'll be closed to everybody else. So that is safety car number 2 of the evening. Or of the afternoon, I should say. Afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you may be watching from. Afternoon here in the States. It is actually, it's not quite noon yet here in the States. About 2 minutes until noon, but it may be in the evening across the globe. So regardless of what time you are watching this race, we really do appreciate you guys so much for tuning on in to the FUELCAN.SHOP 3 hours of Spa-Francorchamps. It's been a fun time here so far. Lots of good racing, lots of good battles, and lots of drama too, as this is the second safety car on the hour.
Probably going to see pretty active pit road once the fuel gets bunched up. A lot of drivers low on fuel. Soft runners definitely running out of tire.
Yeah, so like we were saying earlier, I mean, when it comes to just how everything kind of plays out, you know that we were saying earlier that safety cars do kind of throw a wrench into the strategy. So I know some teams and drivers like to plan out their strategies ahead. They'll do hours upon hours of practice and then just go ahead and get a setup going and get a strategy too based on like the tire wear and the data they get. But when you put a safety car in the mix, that really kind of just changes things too, because you only burn about maybe half of the tire that you would in regular green flag racing conditions. So it'll be interesting to see how this affects strategy. But yes, I 100% agree that we are going to really back up, or really just see a very active pit lane. Can I unlap cars, or am I cooked? We don't mean to laugh, but that is a that is kind of a funny way to ask that question. I think if he gets up to the back of the pack, the race directors will have a better answer for that question. I'm pretty sure that's allowed. I think it has to be announced. I know that much. Like, I know the race director, or in this case you, would have to directly say that, yeah, you can go on through. But we'll let you make that call. I'm not the race director, so that is not my call as much as I would like to say, yeah, just go ahead. I can't make that call, unfortunately. So right now, I guess to answer the question, can I overtake cars, or can I unlap myself, or am I cooked? Right now, I would say you fall more into the latter category, but yeah, there we go. There's the official race director of saying that you can go ahead and unlap cars. Once you catch up to the back of the pack, you can go ahead and unlap yourself, but before then, you're kind of stuck. I don't want to say you're cooked, because that sounds awful, and I think he's still got a chance, although his setup is definitely been not playing nice with him. And well, even as, like, I mean, I've seen championships decided over someone's wheel disconnecting their race, so that's just heartbreaking.
It's very interesting to see once we get to the restart. Roscoe's got very good restarts over Flame Haze. He's really gotten himself a gap, and Flame Haze is not kind of bunched up with him. It's really cost him on the restarts. So if I was Flame Haze, I'd definitely try to make a concerted effort to just stay up behind Roscoe and try and time that jump.
Yeah, that'd be a good strategy too. It's always going to be just tricky to kind of manage how everything is going to play out. I mean, yes, I 100% agree with you that that's exactly what Flame Haze needs to do. He needs to go ahead and get a good restart here. But the tire life is not really playing into the favor of the BMW, really. Because, I mean, he's got better front right tire wear than Roscoe up ahead. I think Roscoe has better fuel, but not by a lot. Now, here's the question I'm going to pose to you. In this instance, with the safety car, would you just put your fuel load to lean to try to kind of conserve your fuel? Or, since you're pretty much already almost out of fuel anyway, well, pits are open anyway, so, but you could still save time in the pits if you burn up less fuel. So, would you put your fuel map to a 6 to try to conserve as much fuel as you can, or would you just not touch it?
I usually try and put my fuel map to 6, and then I'll even shift up into 6th gear and really run low revs during the entire safety car just to try and save as much fuel as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very smart maneuver, honestly, just because, I mean, it's safety car conditions anyway, so you're not going to get passed, and you'll actually, because you'll have to get fuel anyway, you'll be actually quicker in the pits because you'll spend less time getting fuel, so it is a good call overall. I mean, you can overtake under the safety car, but you're likely going to get slammed with a penalty. That's usually like where you can't even fight it. But yep, here we go. Like you mentioned, the pits have opened, and so have the floodgates of cars. A lot of drivers going ahead and making their pit stop, even if they're on the medium. So a lot of these drivers making their pit stops. You might as well. It is a safety car condition anyway. So now here's another question I'm going to pose to you. Are you going to would you put on another set of softs at this point, or would you try to go for the mediums to try to go long?
Well, it kind of depends what tire I'm on. If I'm on the mediums, I'm gonna go to the softs. I'm done with the mediums for the rest of the race, honestly. But if I'm on the softs, I might try and go for the mediums here. I usually just try and get my stint down with the mediums as soon as possible, just because of the pace difference.
Indeed. So, interesting way to look at it. I mean, every driver's gonna drive differently, so the strategy you would use and the strategy I would use would be probably a bit different, and then also we would probably have differences compared to the drivers on the track at the moment. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not like the thing is that this isn't like Formula 1 where, you know, I mean, yes, you do have to still use 2 compounds, but it's not like where the softs drastically fall off after like 2 or 3 laps. The softs will actually last you quite a while here in Gran Turismo, so I mean, it is a good idea to go ahead and just get on this, do your medium stint, and then just run softs the rest of the race, because the tire wear differential isn't super massive compared to like the grip levels. So the softs definitely have a bigger, like a harder fall off. Like when the soft starts falling off, it hits you like a truck, or like Patrick Mahomes just body checked that one defender in the game last night against the Chargers. Actually, do you watch football at all, Taters?
Yeah, I do from time to time.
Yeah, I would say I'm more on the casual side of things. I'll watch it if I can find a game on, but I'm not like, you know, a hardcore, you know, football fan. Like, I don't like throw away my entire Sundays for watching the best team in the league play, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm kidding. We don't even have the delusion of like the Ferrari fans at this point. But yeah, I mean, of course I don't throw away my Sundays for the NFL. That's what Formula 1 is for. But anyways, still safety car conditions for now. We'll have at least another lap, I think, because we still have a car in the pits. Or a car that's not quite to the back of the... Oh, I must have just been seeing things, because I thought I saw a car in the pit lane. Oh, there is. It just...
Arpses.
Yeah, it just blinked out of existence momentarily. I was wondering if I was seeing things.
Well, it appears Garado did not take fuel on that pit stop and got out in the lead.
I mean, could be a smart call. Could be a smart call indeed. We were asked.
Hill didn't take tires either.
We were asked to show ARPS, and here you go. Here is ARPS going through his pit stop now. He's gonna get some new tires on, and he's gonna go ahead and just take some fuel and get that rear bumper fixed. I would imagine the rear aero. I mean, you need rear downforce on this track. You need it more than the front downforce, I would say. And I think I might have lost my co-commentator.
My game crashed.
Yep, that sounds like Gran Turismo, honestly. So here's ARPS. He's still got to try to catch himself up to the back of the field. He is on the lead lap, though, so he is no longer a lapped car. He'll pretty much, once he gets out, he'll jump up right up behind Method on the restart. On a brand new set of soft tires, maxed out fuel. He's got a chance to get some moves done here, but he hasn't been a big fan of his Lamborghini and the setup on it, so he's been having a bit of a tough time in this Lamborghini. But maybe with this set of soft tires, he might be able to turn it around. There's always a potential. I mean, I am a firm believer of it's not over until the checkered flag waves. But it's going to be a bit of a tricky one for the British driver. We'll see what he can do. But yeah, that Lamborghini just doesn't seem like it's been his friend here tonight. I'm going to be really interested on the restart because, I mean, Roysko is also on fresh tires, but Flames is in the pits again?
He had damage. There was a bit of contact in his safety car.
Oh, yikes. And yeah, Rada Soja as well, so I'm assuming that's where the damage came from. Um, actually, well, here's the thing. On my screen, Radasoja has full fuel, full tires, and no damage. So why he's throwing out another pit stop is a bit of a tricky one. Swap it to the mediums, maybe. Or a... I mean, I wouldn't say it's a drive-through, but... Nope, he's on the medium, so that was a strategic stop. He went for the medium, so he's going to try to go a bit long here. Or at least, if all else, try to get rid of that medium stint as quick as he can. So, Grotto's in charge of the field. I mean, he's had a very up and down race, but the safety car really did help out his case quite considerably, as he did make his pit stop earlier. He didn't take fuel though, so it's gonna be a tricky spot for him later on in this race. We're closing down on the final minutes of the first hour here at the race. So there's still about 2 hours and 5 minutes left to go here in Spa-Francorchamps. It's gonna be a long race, but I think it's going to be very exciting once we get back to green here. Which I think should be this lap. I could be wrong, but I think it is this lap. Yep, there we go. Green flag conditions coming up. I mean, it's possible that he didn't take medium so far. I mean, some drivers just have different preferences. Well, there is a very good chance that he did not take a medium tire at any point, so he's doing that to satisfy the tire requirements. But I mean, it's still a potential strategy call as well to go on the mediums and try a different pit strategy compared to everybody else on the field. So racing has so many different pieces that can just fit together in a very nice puzzle. You have your pace, you have your management, and you pretty much have your consistency. That is pretty much the big three. When it's the multi-class races, traffic management also comes into account as well. So pace, racecraft, consistency, management, that's all pieces that fit nicely into this puzzle. But I will say, I don't know if you saw it from your view, Tatus, but the sky on this track looks absolutely gorgeous here at this time of night.
Trying to get a look. No, I can't get a look.
I caught a slight glimpse of a bunch of really pretty stars out in the sky, so we'll see if the guiding star will guide Garada to keep his P1 after La Source. We'll see. I think that Porsche might have a bit of an advantage potentially on straights compared to the GTR, but we know that the GTR, I mean, the GTR is going to be better on fuel, so even if he doesn't pass him on track, he'll pass him on strategy undoubtedly. So we'll be green here at this lap. It's going to be back to green flag conditions here. Once we go through La Source, we're pretty much ready to get back racing here. Garada will lead us to green. Is he going to be able to keep his lead going through a Rouge and Radion? We'll just have to find out. Alright, we're about to go ahead and get racing here very, very shortly. And once Garada goes in and floors it, it'll be racing time here again at the FUELCAN.SHOP. 3 hours of Spa. He's going to wait for the moment to fully send it. The field is good, and he's going green. He puts the hammer down. We are back racing here in Spa-Francorchamps. Going to make his way a very good run through a Rouge. We'll see if he can keep that position. He looks like he got a very good launch compared to Roysko there. It's a very good launch from him. And actually Roysko now is benefiting a lot from that slipstream going down the Camel Straight. We'll see if he can get a move done going into the chicane. No, he's not. He's going to close the gap up, but... Oh, he is going to make the pass. Garado must have had a bit of a wiggle there, and Royce goes back into the lead of the race.
Car around, it was Hill. He had a big problem in turn 6, it looks like. Just 2 points of damage. Yeah, he had a big issue.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Going back on the replay. Oh, I think he collided with Mazingers and his teammate again. So he got collided there, and then, oh, yep, and he got tapped by Watson. That was pretty much the icing on the cake. Kind of got ping-ponged around between Mazingers and his teammate, and then ultimately just got punted by Method there just to kind of seal the deal, essentially.
Second time in this race, he's had contact with his teammate in that corner as well. He's probably going to have to come to the pits as well.
Yeah, the pits are indeed open. No safety car again yet. There might be one. We'll see. But Mazinger is actually up into second. So, actually, what happened to Garado? Garado fell way down the order. Let's see if we can get a replay of what just caused him to fall way down the order. No, I think we were a bit late on that. Might have happened during the replay we were watching earlier on, but yeah, Garado started this restart in first, and now less than a lap later, he's down into 10th. And Flame Haze making a solid move on the Method through the bus stop chicane. He's up into P6. He had damage under the safety car, so he had to come into the pits and get his front aero fixed up. But now he's trying to have the best restart he possibly can. And there's big moments here. Big moments happening around. RekkasGG got spun around. No damage on that Lexus, but we need a better look at that.
I don't know what happened there. They just kind of piled up into the source.
Let's watch it from the third person camera. So Method he's been tapping that front or back left or back right, back right panel. Oh, yep, sure enough, the back right panel got tagged, and basically forced him to spin through the source and pretty much sent it right in the way of Flame Haze. So let's get on board with Flame Haze and then watch that again. A lot of replay usage this one. So here's Flame Haze now. He's chasing up to Ikonen. He's got Ikonen pretty much right up in his sights. Just looking behind him. Method hits RekkasGG, forces him to spin, and just collects the BMW. Yeah, so that was definitely on Method, I would say 100%. So Method...
Yeah, I hate to say it, but he's been a bit of an incident magnet today.
Yeah, he's been causing a few incidents left, right, and center, and that's another one. Taking 2 cars out and getting ahead. Yeah, very unfortunate there. Because, I mean, Method was on the top of the AM qualifying. Actually, even by 2 seconds. He had a 2:18 in the AM qualifying, so he's definitely got some kind of speed, but with good speed comes the need for great brakes as well. So, I mean, I think that's probably going to be a slam dunk penalty if it gets reported. Yeah, I don't see any way that he gets out of that penalty free.
And very unfortunate 15 minutes for Flame Haze. The damage under the safety car and then really being an innocent bystander in that incident as well.
Yeah, it was pretty much just a passenger in that incident. Just nowhere to go. I mean, he had a lot of places to go, but it was not his fault by any stretch of the imagination. Just got basically, it was a domino effect to just about the most literal sense. Somebody got hit and got hit straight into him. So, yeah. I mean, otherwise, it's been a very impressive debut here for Flame Haze. He's been doing fantastic. I mean, in the early stages of this race, I know you could agree, but he was on fire. I mean, he was putting a bunch of pressure onto Roysko and just not really giving up, and he wasn't really letting Roysko run away with it either.
Still plenty of time, though, for him to get back up there. He's very fast. A lot faster than the people in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, that is... Yeah, I mean, he's just been having such a good race, but it's just been unfortunate. He's already caught up to his assailant, essentially, of Method there. We'll see if he can get past him now. Jumping back up to the front for a bit, Roysko does have a 3-second gap to already behind. And then Watson is in the P3 in the Audi R8 for Ray Racing. We'll see if he can go ahead and keep. I mean, another driver's been having an impressive drive today after the first hour is definitely Mazinger. Because I know Watson's had a pretty good drive today too, but Mazinger's been having a fantastic run as well. He's had to pit several times for damage, and he's already kind of pushing for another podium spot.
Yeah, that safety car definitely helped him when they bunched up the field, and he had another great restart and back up there. I think he definitely get a podium.
Yeah, the podium's definitely in the cards there for Mazinga there, the Spanish driver in that Mercedes. He's going to keep trying. He's going to put a lot of pressure on the Watson, maybe try to force him into a mistake, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. The Audi is a strong car, but so is the Mercedes, so it's going to be a battle of the German machines on track here as they make their way through La Source, going through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. We'll see. There's not going to be a move made through Eau Rouge, that's definitely for certain, but potentially we may see a move on the Kemmel straight if he can close that gap enough. It is the best spot on the track to get a really good slipstream on the car just up ahead as we sit on the inside of the Mercedes AMG GT3. He's going to get closer. It is a purple sector for the Spaniard, but once again, just not close enough to even think about a dive bomb that would actually be sensible. Bit of a snap there from
bit
Watson.
of gravel. Yeah. It's gonna open the door.
Ooh. The door's been wide open. He's trying to enter in. He wants to give him Girl Scout cookies. Instead, he's gonna get given the wall, and that is definitely a bit of a tricky one. I mean, the Audis in general have been incident magnets today for whatever reason. I guess the Audis woke up and chose violence here, but oh, that was dicey.
Yeah, great save by Missingers. That could have ended way different. He could have been in the wall again.
That could have pretty much just done to him what Method did the Flame Haze and just kind of really nuke his chances of trying to make it through the field here. Let's go ahead and check back in through the field. There's a car off in the backfield, and that is Garado. He actually made a pit stop, so that explains that. He is in the backfield by a pretty considerable gap, but he did make a pit stop. But here's another weird thing too I've noticed, Tater, is that Garado, he took another pit stop for probably damage fixing and tires, but he did not take fuel again.
It's a questionable call to not take fuel 2 pit stops in a row. That's questionable.
I mean, I can understand him wanting to get back out there, but I mean, you're just going to have to come in later anyway. I mean, you could have really delayed your pit stop for quite a while until probably hit the 1 hour remaining mark of the race, where we were 2 hours into this race, if he made a pit stop. So I mean, he could have managed that, but he opted to not do it for a reason that we're quite unsure of, but who knows? Maybe there's a strategy masterclass in there that you and I just aren't seeing.
Well, only time will tell.
Time will tell indeed. Watson is now under a fair amount of pressure once again from Mazingers there. We'll see if this time he can get past the Ray Racing driver. And I think just in general, Ray Racing has had, at least in some recent times with some of the drivers, they've had a bit of a tendency to be kind of incident magnets. Or just drivers that are just drive aggressively. We've seen it a few races past too, where some of the Ray Racing drivers have been having tricky times when it comes to just trying to get moves done. Sometimes they can be a bit too over aggressive. CLR though, on the other hand, she's not aggressive when it comes to racing. She's been doing pretty good over in the IEC which is our multi-class championship here at the Discord Racing Association. Yeah, she's been doing pretty solid. Doesn't normally fit the moniker of the Ray Racing drivers that we've seen in GT3.
Oh man.
Did you?
Just disconnected.
Oh,
Watson just disconnected as you were talking about.
That's like a next generation like commentator's curse. So he's out of the race now. That is a next generation. That is probably the worst commentator's curse I have ever witnessed in my lifetime as a commentator. Which, granted, it's only been about a year and a half since I started commentating, but man, that is a rough one. Well, okay, correction.
Yeah.
Second worst commentator's curse I've ever given.
It's going to put Mizingers up to third without having to make any pass.
And without not with a lot of pressure either.
It's got a good gap to Ikonen as well, 4.7. RekkasGG pits.
Yeah, RekkasGG is indeed in the pits, so we'll see what he does here. It's been an interesting thing for RekkasGG is I don't know if this pit stop's really necessary because he's got no damage that I can see. His tires are in fantastic shape, and he's still got a fair amount of fuel, so I wonder what this stop is all about.
Maybe trying to get off the mediums? I don't know. Let's see what tire they started on. Started on the soft, so it's not like... Yeah, probably trying to get the mediums, I would say. We'll have to see.
I mean, I know there's a pretty solid pace differential between the mediums and the softs, but I would have tried to use the mediums for all that they're worth and kind of delayed my pit stop, but... Because, I mean... It's really just more like the, pick your poison in terms of the, yeah, he did switch to soft tires. So it's kind of like the pick your poison thing I was talking about earlier. It's, either you lose the time on track or you lose it in the pits. I guess he opted just to lose it in the pits, but I mean, there's going to be a point where the time you lose in the pits is going to outweigh the amount of time you lost on track. So it's really, you just got to find a balance for it, honestly.
Well, depending on how long RekkasGG wants to go on these tires, could have set up a two-stop for him. Although that's stretching it.
Yeah, because if that tire thing goes to full red, I mean, you basically have a puncture. The game will tell you have a puncture, and there's no like puncture animation, but you basically have a puncture. That tire is no good. I mean, it's like you cannot turn if you have especially if it's a front tire, then you got no grip. You probably have the turn radius of a double-decker bus once you have that tire issue. See if I can find anything about the disconnect. Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate. You gotta feel bad for Watson, because Watson's been pretty solid. Yeah, so now it's down to one Ray Racing driver. I know Ray Racing actually has quite a few drivers. The drivers that aren't in this race are Alex, which we have seen here before, and CLR, which CLR, she races in the IEC. I don't think I've seen... Actually, I think I might have seen Watson race before. I don't know. I'd have to double check with the previous races that they've been in, but... Yeah, it's rough. As Arps has finally found his footing in that Lamborghini, and he is now ahead of Method. He did get the pass done on track. He's finally figured it out. Whatever driving style he had to adapt to get that Lamborghini Huracan to find some pace, he has definitely done it. He has gone past his AM rival. These were the two drivers who are in our amateur qualifying session earlier on. Arps was about 2 seconds off of Method's pace in quali, but now he's ahead of him on track, and the big points are scored on track. So, I mean, if I were to say, like, if I'd rather be ahead in qualifying and then be behind in the race or vice versa, I would take vice versa. I would take it to where I'm behind in qualifying and then ahead in the race. Just because, once again, that's where the big points are scored. But now he's up into the top 6. He started 11th. Now he's into 6th. And in a setup and car he's really not a big fan of. I mean, that's kudos to him.
Yeah, and with all the damage and the pit stops, it's impressive comeback for sure.
Yeah,
Flame Haze has got the back of Ikonen here. 3/10 gap through the bus stop for 4th.
Actually, here's what I'll do. Since you're back in the lobby and you've been back for quite some time, actually, I'll let you go ahead and narrate this onboard lap with Flame Haze as he goes to chase down Ikonen.
Alright, well, 5.5 gap here. Not going to be moved up through Radion. Might get a slipstream, might get a run. Down the Camel Straight, we'll have to see here. Both very good up through Radion. Flame Haze gaining. Down to 4.5 Don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move into Lacombe. No, not close enough. Very tough to pass Ikonen. Very good driver, very consistent. Flame Haze with better exits though. Even though he's on the mediums and Ikonen's on the softs, both similar tire wear. Definitely has a pace advantage though. Definitely, they'll just have to follow him through here, this middle section. Not really any passing zones. Very technical part of the track. Maybe try and get close enough and make a move down into the chicane at the other end of the track. Don't think he'll be close enough though. Ikonen very strong through that middle sector. It's going to have about 7/10 gap. Flame Haze gets a little AstroTurf on the exit of the corner. It's not going to be close enough to the bus stop unless Ikonen makes a big mistake. No, I'll try and maybe diamond the corner a bit, try and get a good run down the straightaway, and maybe close enough into La Source. 5/10, probably not.
Indeed, yeah, that was a. I mean, he's done a very good job here trying to follow the back of Ikonen here. I mean, it's been a very impressive debut drive for Flame Haze here in Spa. Doing a very good job. He qualified 3rd. He is down into 5th, but he did have his fair share of incidents and unfortunate accidents that weren't his fault. But Flame Haze is now pretty much right at the gearbox of Ikonen. Is he going to try to send it around the outside? He's going to go for it. He's got the speed, but does he got the move? We'll see about it. Is he going to try to hook it up before the chicane?
It's clear.
He's clear, but is it enough though? Is Ikonen going to get it on the reset? No, he is not. So Flame Haze in that BMW M6 is up in the 4th, taking on an established competitive driver in Ikonen. What a maneuver and what a drive for Flame Haze. If Flame Haze isn't part of an official team yet, then I think that this driver is probably going to be one of the hottest drivers on the free market.
Yeah, didn't try and force anything on Ikonen either, just kind of set up his corners, set up his pass for the Camel straightaway.
Yeah, I mean, I think, because I know you're a team owner yourself, but if I was a team owner, I would definitely try to talk Flame Haze into jumping on a team, because I mean, that's the kind of driver you want to represent. Somebody that can kind of stick it to the drivers who have been in the league for a while. And also just, drivers who can just hold their own.
Hill's still driving with some damage, it seems, down in 8th place, right suspension damage.
Yeah, he's got the right.
It's gone away for him. Started, I believe, top 5, and now he's down into 8th, and what's that, 16 seconds back of ARPS?
Yeah, he's had a rough start of things. Cameron Hill pretty much got punted in the first lap, the first racing lap we had. So, yeah, it's a bit of a tricky. It's been a tricky day for him. I know he's got the sweet and short car, but his race has been anything but. It hasn't been sweet or short. But yeah, it's been a rough day for him. But the wind has died down pretty substantially. The sky is pretty clear now, but it is still in the twilight hours. Although I think the sun might actually start coming up here soon-ish. I know the time progression is about 8 times, so we'll see. Although we said that about Daytona too, but it never really turned back to daylight in Daytona, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, pretty good racing here. A battle for a potential podium spot between Mazinger and Already lined up here. We'll see if Already is ready to hold off the hard-charging Spaniard behind him. His race has been pretty sweet for the driver in the Corvette. Definitely doing some good marketing for... I think I remember the first time I saw that livery. I think I actually called it the Sydney Sweeney livery. But it's Sabrina Carpenter. I got the wrong blonde singer. Which thankfully I've not been yet crucified for. But still, Already is doing a very fantastic job here. In second place. He is losing a bit of time, though, to Mazinger's behind. So I think there's going to be a really spicy battle on our hands soon enough.
Yeah, and speaking of the leader, Roysko is completely checked out from Already. 10.4 seconds. Probably not going to be able to gain that time on track. Probably going to need help with a safety car, which we've seen today, so...
Yeah, I mean, that is... I mean, sometimes you just have drives where you are just locked in, your car setup is immaculate, and you just drive off into the distance. That's just sometimes how that kind of thing goes. Flame Ace actually pulling away from Ekone, which is something I really didn't have on my bingo card here today. But Flame Ace is doing a fantastic job here in this race. Just dialed into that BMW. If he's here for the rest of the season, then this might be a driver to keep an eye on, because he might be a problem for the GT Finland racers. At least one of them.
Yeah. 11.3 to third, though. That's going to be tough to gain.
Indeed, yeah, it's gonna be a tricky one to gain, but I mean, maybe pit strategy might help him out of it. But something that is gonna help the drivers is something that I've been kind of noticing for a while, but chat definitely ran it home. Unlike in Daytona, we are actually about to see the sun again. So it is gonna be cloudy, but it is gonna be daylight. Visibility is gonna be better in these cars, so be a bit easier to see, which will probably take off some kind of strain from the drivers, I'd imagine. But then again, there's just some drivers that just like driving at night. I mean, it can be fun. It can be therapeutic. If you're stressed out, you had a long day at work, you know, you had pretty much everything go wrong for you while you're at work or you're at school, college, etc. Just hop on the track and just drive it at night. Sometimes it's just a nice, calming feeling. I do it sometimes. Honestly, it's cheaper than therapy, honestly. So just have at it.
Well, from personal experience, I'm not really a fan of someone who drives of driving at night. Someone who in endurance races does a lot of night stints. I'm not a fan of it. I like to see the track. The track looks different at night. Like you maybe forget where a couple corners are. And you don't have the daylight to remind you of where exactly the apex might be.
Oh, I mean, I'm 100% in agreement with you there. Okay, so here's something I'm actually going to ask you. Well, first off, how much have you driven the Super Formula cars?
I've done a couple of leagues with the Super Formula cars, so pretty experienced in those.
Okay, so the one that I remember doing that was... I haven't done a league... I've only done one league race in my entire career. And it wasn't in Super Formula, it was in GT3. But I did some testing for a league in Super Formula. There is a race combination that is absolutely awful to do if you're ever curious enough and you want to try it. It is Dragon Trail Gardens midnight with torrential downpour. You are not seeing a thing. So if you're one of the drivers that gets kind of like therapy from driving at night, don't do it with those settings, especially the Super Formula car, because you can't see anything. Actually, I think in general, nighttime at Dragon Trail with the Super Formula means you're not seeing anything. The Nürburgring is another one that really doesn't have a lot of light around it, outside of the circuit section. But yeah, I would kind of advise against using the Super Formula at any night track aside from like Daytona maybe, or one of the more well lit tracks. Spa could be interesting with it at night, but we'll see. But what we are seeing is this podium battle spots has come to pass. It is Already versus Mazingers. Mazingers there, the Spaniard in the Mercedes. He does have a, I mean, it may not be the way on his screen, but on our end at least, he has a bit of a laggy Corvette just up ahead, which can always make things very, very tricky. But the sun is now up. It's still very cloudy and a good amount of fog, so visibility still isn't at its greatest. But it is better than it was earlier. Wow, look how close they got going through the bus stop chicane. Very good stuff there. But it is going to leave Already with the advantage coming out. The number 64 Sabrina Carpenter short and sweet tour Corvette, still ahead of the I saw the team name earlier on that Mercedes.
That's the team, Cyber Technic Racing Team. I was actually going to race this series with them, but changed last moment.
Ah, I see. Well, regardless, the Mercedes is chasing down the Sabrina Carpenter mobile as they go through the Kemmel Straight, trying to put on a lot of pressure. But here's the thing, though. Already is better on fuel by a very strong margin. Not so much on the tire front, but Already can outlast him on fuel. That is not up for debate. Already has been doing really good on fuel in that Corvette, which we were talking that the Corvette was kind of the gas guzzler of the field, but it seems like that the Mercedes have been having a bit of a tougher issue with it. A move was attempted, a move was not done. He shut the door. He doesn't want to hear about his Corvette's extended warranty. He's keeping the position for now.
Yeah, Already's definitely been one of the better on fuel conservation. Just noticing through the field. So I don't know what tricks he's doing, but it's definitely working.
He might have set up his fuel map earlier. Oh, here we go. Here's something that he's doing that I don't think his rival is really doing. He is being very gentle on the throttle. Being very, very gentle on the throttle. And the more gentle on the throttle you are, the more fuel you're going to end up saving. That's just kind of the general rule of thumb. You push more, you burn more fuel. You lift more, you save more fuel. So, I mean, Already's been doing a very good job of that. And in a car, I mean, you kind of have to do, you have to do good in that kind of situation, considering that your car isn't exactly the most fuel economic compared to some of the other cars on the grid.
Starting to cost him a bit of time, though. He's not being able to really pull away from his zingers. And I think Mazingers might be able to put a move on him if he gets a good run through the source. Maybe through Radion and then up to the Kemmel Straight.
That's certainly possible, because we know that the Mercedes in general loves straight line speed. It loves just going full throttle. But I mean, at some point, if you are Mazinger, you want to try to conserve that fuel in that Mercedes, because you're going to lose the fuel battle. I mean, I think that's kind of going without saying right now. He is indeed losing the fuel battle. But
he's got to run.
He's got to run. Does he got to move? He's got a lot of real estate. Is he going to go ahead and make it work? Or is he going to make the contact a little bit? But Mazinger does have the move. Done, dusted, and delivered. That is a very strong pass. And he is up in the second.
Well, he's not going to have second for long. That fuel has just gone to blinking red, so he's going to have to come in next few laps.
Could even
very
be
nice
this
move
lap.
indeed.
Another thing too is that that was noted in Twitch chat by us, our account, is that already is short shifting, which is helping him out, but he's gonna try to fire it around the outside, trying to go to get the move the outside, but the inside. There's contact between the two, and they're gonna continue to duke it out. That was a beautiful series of corners there, just battling it out through turns 11, 12, and 13, keeping the battle up through 13 and 14. Starting the third sector, and man, oh man, this has been fun to watch.
It's not done yet either. Reddy's got to run.
He's got to run. He's got to speed. Does he got the move? He's got the outside. Oh, they both go off into the tarmac. They are both racing their hearts out, going tooth and nail. But already goes very deep through the bus stop chicane. That's going to give Mazingers a very strong advantage here, and now I think the battle might be done for now. I say for now because of the fuel. Mazinger's still very... Okay, that was a glitch. Did you happen to see that as well, or Mazinger's
yeah, this lobby's just getting a little laggy.
Yeah. Mazinger's kind of just shot straight off into the distance on our end. Oh boy. Hopefully this doesn't become a massive issue. We're about an hour and a half into the race, or we're halfway done with this race here at Spa-Francorchamps. So about an hour and a half into the race. Hopefully, because I was noticing it a bit earlier too, with some other drivers kind of blinking in and out of existence, or just like kind of stuttering a bit. Hopefully that's just a temporary issue, and hopefully that's nothing that's gonna horrendously impact the race for someone. But yeah, I think we're actually gonna see quite a few pit stops here pretty soon, because just taking a look at a few of the other cars, Arps is pretty low on fuel. He's gonna definitely probably have to pit in this lap, because he's on blinking red. He's got barely more fuel than Mazinger's, and Roysko actually is also on blinking red fuel, and he's on pretty burned out soft tires. So I think we might see quite the flurry of activity in the pits here this race.
Guerrero's in as well from P7.
Yeah, so he's going to drop down the order a bit. He's going to try to get the undercut on the pit stops, which could help him out quite nicely, but yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. Come in as well,
because he's got like a sliver of fuel left. I think Mazinger's going to go for softs here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Mazingers is going to try to go ahead and go for soft tires. We'll see how this all happens. Roysko surprisingly did not pit, so he's definitely going to have to pit in next lap, I would say. Yeah, I'm actually very curious, because I think he would have... I guess it's more the case of, like, once again, would you rather lose more time on track or lose more time in the pits? Mazingers is at 0% fuel. Whew, that was close. His whole race could have been over there, but he pushed that car to the brink and just barely made it.
Probably see Roysko in this lap. Can't imagine that fuel's going to last him this lap and another lap.
Yeah, probably not. I'm thinking it's going to be this lap where he's going to pit in. I mean, he's not really a danger. I mean, he'll lose a position, I think, to already, because already's really good on fuel. Actually, never mind. No, he's not. I lied. He's probably going to be in next lap. Flame is my Flamehaze can probably go another lap or two, because he's not even in the blinking red territory yet in his BMW, so he'll be in a good spot, I would say, to go ahead and try to make a good pit stop here. Or he could probably go another lap or two, I would venture to say. ARPS is in as well. We'll see what these drivers swap to when it comes to their pit stops. Because, let's see, where's Method at in terms of fuel? Method could go another lap or two, I'd imagine, as well. So I think these drivers are kind of focusing less on like how their tires look and more on how does their fuel look, at least at this stage of the race. There's probably going to be a good amount of times where you're kind of looking at one or the other.
Well, Itkinen's doing really well on fuel. Probably has the best of the cars who have not pitted yet.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, you're not kidding. I mean, he's probably, I would venture to say he's got a really good chance of inheriting the lead once the 3 cars are ahead of him pit. Because already in Royce Go, they're going to pit this lap, no doubt. Flamehaze might have another lap in him, but let's see, has Flamehaze hit the blinking red? Yeah, he might have one more lap. I would probably give it no more than one more lap. Conan's got several. I would just tend to say Conan's got quite a few laps under his belt. Or, I mean, obviously he's got quite a few laps under his belt. He's got 700 and almost 50 miles on that Lexus, and it's probably going to be closer to 800 or 900 maybe after we're done here. But Conan's good on fuel. He can put another few another few laps on this car before going in and making it into the pits. Roysko has 3% fuel coming into the pits. Already he's got 4. Flamehaze is going to go another lap, so Flamehaze will inherit the lead of the race, but he's definitely going to have to pit in next lap.
I'd keep my eyes on RekkasGG as well. Remember, he pitted pretty late to get onto those softs. He's got half a tank of fuel left.
That is true. That is very, very true. He could be a pretty potent force here in this race. Once everything kind of gets settled a bit, once these pit stops go around. Roysko is in the pits. He's feeling up quite a bit. He'll probably switch off over to the soft tires as well. We'll see about Already. Already's going to go ahead and he's going to fuel probably to the max too. Method is in a decent spot on fuel. He can go another 2 laps, I would say. So Flamehaze is definitely going to be probably the next driver to go ahead and pit on in. He's got probably, if he set his fuel thing to 6, he could maybe get another lap out, but it's probably going to be, it'll probably be better time-wise just to go ahead and come into the pits this lap and then just try to chase after Conan later on.
RekkasGG just jumped already. That's huge, because RekkasGG can go long and then probably pit maybe one more time.
Yeah, so I mean, RekkasGG might have just pulled off a strategy masterclass right out from under our noses here. The GT, I mean, then again, he's one of the GT Finland racers, so I know that team is very strong. They know what they're doing, and I've seen them in multiple different series, and they've just been fantastic in every single series I've seen them in. I haven't really seen them falter too often, but I mean, once again, like I said, Titans can always fall at any point. But we do know that they are definitely always a consistent threat to anybody trying to win a race.
Probably going to see Flamehaze pit here. Very low on fuel. I'd imagine he goes to the softs as well. Most cars that pitted switch to the softs.
Yeah, that's probably going to be what's going to happen here. I don't really see it going many other ways, but yeah, Flamehaze is in. Conan's actually in too. I thought he would have went out another lap, maybe trying to match Flamehaze here and try to jump him into pits, which is possible because he's got 8 times the fuel that Flamehaze has. So that's going to put Method in the lead of this race in a Ray Racing Audi.
Yeah, really surprised Dickon came in there. I would have stayed out maybe a lap or 2.
Yeah, I would have probably just tried to push the advantage. I mean, there really isn't too much of a reason for him to pit kind of here. I mean, I guess strategy-wise, I can only see it from a strategy point. His medium tires are still in a good state. His medium tires still look fine. He was decent on fuel. He could have at least pushed another lap or 2. But no, he just decides to pull that number 23 Lexus in and get some gas.
It's probably going to jump Flame Haze, though, in position on track here with the fuel difference.
Yeah, that's very likely, honestly. Because he won't spend as long in the pits. Because here's the thing, right? If Flame Haze wanted to still keep his spot after the pit stop, he would have had to take less fuel, which would have meant he would have had to pit in earlier anyway. Because I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the end on that fuel load. I don't think anybody is. Even if you were in Alfa Romeo 4C, which is kind of like one of the kings of like fuel management, stuff like that, but I just don't see it. I just don't see anyone going through the next hour and 20 minutes on the same load of fuel. So, but here's the thing though. Kona didn't actually take max fuel. He only took 93%.
Maybe he was expecting Flame Haze to kind of short fuel as well, so trying to get that advantage. He still has to pit again, probably. I don't imagine those softs are going to last him to the end. So, we'll see what GT Finley Racers is cooking up here, but they're definitely being pretty creative with their strategy.
I mean, that's the thing I love about not multi-class racing in particular, but and just racing overall. That's one of the things I just love, is just a variety of strategies that you can get here. When it comes to this kind of racing, it's just, especially when it's endurance racing, there's so many different strategy options that you could kind of think about. As we will see our next pit stop of Method, he is probably at, I would venture to say, 2% of fuel is what I'm going to say. I was right, 2% of fuel. Man, I should have got a career in mathematics. Who am I kidding? I hated geometry in high school, but
yeah, that's fair.
Geometry was probably like my least favorite form of math. I just did not do well in it at all.
I'm gonna say here that Method is obviously gonna go full fuel. I'd imagine softs. Just like pretty much the rest of the field. Everyone's on softs besides Method.
Yeah, I think that's gonna change here pretty soon. We're gonna watch him go through the pits. The sole remaining Ray Racing driver currently going ahead and gassing up on fuel in that 777 Audi R8. There's a lot. Okay, so this is something I just noticed, and it's a weird thing to think about, but the amount of numbers that are involved with this car is really funny. So it's car number 777. He has 13 in his name. He's driving a car called the Audi R8 that has a V10 in it. I don't know why that was something I just noticed, and does it have any kind of value? Not really, but it's just something kind of funny to note with no real significance whatsoever. This field is very far spread out now. I think the closest quote battle we can have on track here is actually a quote battle for P4 between Conan and Aretti. So we can see how this one kind of goes, but there's still a pretty big gap between the two at the moment.
Arps, he's not going to be as close as he was Method before the pit stop. Looks like Method gained some time through that pit stop. They were really close coming in. I think about maybe a second difference between the two, but now it's looking like at least a 7-second gap between the two.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes here. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot that can happen in this race. I mean, there's going to be that kind of stage of the race where everybody does just kind of spread out a bit. Everybody just kind of gets into a rhythm and just focuses on trying to conserve. But, I mean, if you remember Daytona, I mean, there was a good period of the race where everybody was just kind of spread out a bit, pretty chilled out, and just overall kind of relaxing a bit, essentially. Not fully relaxing, obviously. You can't be too relaxed, but kind of taking a bit of a breather, that there's not somebody pretty much breathing down your neck and just like trying to get an aggressive overtake. You can kind of drive smoother. You can kind of like slow down that racing hard a bit. But another thing too is that when you're not under constant pressure, you do wonders for your management, like your tire management, because I know you know that you can burn up your tires very quickly in a battle. with someone for a position, whether you're on the attack or the defense.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. The worst tire right now is Radasoja, but he's kind of on an alternate strategy right now. Looks like everyone's on softs.
Yeah, so while we have a good amount of a gap, let's just go and talk about the calendar for the season, because I mean, so far we are in round 2 of the championship here with the World GT Challenge. We had a prologue in Brands Hatch and then the Bathurst 2 hours. The next one is the 90 minutes of Laguna Seca on October 18th. So quite a ways away from now, but it is, I mean, Laguna Seca is a tricky track. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm not a fan of the track. It's really tricky. You don't have a lot of room for error. The sand traps are literally right next to the curbs, and the curbs are not very wide at all, and a lot of them you're not really supposed to use. They'll really upset the car. It's a fun track to drive when your car is handling well, but if it's kind of a lower downforce car, it's really tough and really tricky to, 1, drive the track, and 2, be fast around it.
Indeed, and actually crazy thing enough, because the World GT Challenge is only 5 races long outside the prologue. We're actually officially at the halfway point of the season, which is crazy to me. But the remaining races we have the 90 minutes of Laguna Seca, the 3 hours of the Nürburgring, which is the full 24-hour layout, and then the Suzuka 12 hour. Yikes! It's a Suzuka 2 hour, not the 12 hour. Honestly, out of the 3 remaining tracks, would you say that Laguna Seca is probably your least favorite?
Probably, yeah. I like driving the Nürburgring. It's one of my more favorite tracks, which is probably weird to say.
You'd be surprised.
But yeah, Laguna Seca is probably my least favorite of those 3 remaining.
I was gonna say you'd be pretty surprised. There's a lot of people who actually really love driving the Nürburgring. And I mean, I've commentated on some very fantastic races around the Nürburgring, but probably my least favorite track out of the 3 remaining on the calendar is honestly, and this is probably gonna be a hot take, and I might accidentally annoy some people in the Twitch chat. I apologize, but it is my opinion. Suzuka is easily like my least favorite track on this entire calendar.
Yeah, that's probably, like, I'm okay with driving Suzuka, but I've won races at Laguna Seca, and I like Nürburgring, so probably I'd say Suzuka's my least successful track, I'd say.
I'd honestly even say that, and this is probably just a massive hot take, but we're allowed to have hot takes every so often. Suzuka is probably, actually, not even probably, it is my least favorite track on the calendar. Not to say that DRA would do a bad job on it. That is not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying it is probably my least favorite track on the calendar. If you were to ask me like a few months ago, I would have probably actually said the Nürburgring, but I've actually, after driving the Super Formula car around it a few times, I've actually grown to, I actually really like the Nürburgring. It's and actually funny enough, it is, in the Manufacturers Cup, the Nürburgring is actually the only track I ever went on, so.
There you go.
I was actually kind of proud of that win, considering it was really wet, like torrential downpour where you needed the wets, and I was in the car that was kind of notorious for bad oversteer, being the Jaguar.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, we do have a battle on track now. It is Already versus a Conan. It is Porsche Corvette versus Lexus. So we'll see if Already can go ahead and get this done, or if he can keep him back. And hey, at least I have one supporter about Suzuka not being a fun track. I have one supporter in that at least, but we can come back to that topic later on. And then Already is going to go ahead and still defend through the source. I mean, it's pretty hard to make an overtake through the source unless you just do some Daniel Ricciardo-esque late braking and just send it, but even then, that doesn't typically work on that corner. The best spot to pass is pretty much right after La Source. Or, sorry, Air Rouge.
Yeah, it really depends on who gets the best run out of there. It can really change your top speed. If somebody kind of doesn't get quite up to the curb through that corner, it really changes how fast you can get down the Kemmel straight, and that can really, you can lose positions off of it because if the car behind you gets a great run through, you're just toast.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, my throat is not liking me at the moment. It was giving me a few issues earlier, but just remember to hydrate, everybody. Hydration is very important. Surprisingly, I found out that lemon juice is actually really good for clearing up your throat. Don't know how it works, but cough drops are also work really well after commentating. But if you don't want to put medicine in your body, then I would recommend cough drops. Just a bit of advice for any of the aspiring commentators out there that cough drops and or lemon juice is a pretty good solution.
Aikkonen not going away here on Aretti. Looks like Aretti's car is just, it's not settled through the technical section. And Aikkonen in that Lexus is just way better through the middle part of the track. Let's see if he can make a move down here.
We will see indeed if he can go and get this move done and dusted. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the characteristics between the Lexus and the Corvette now is the Lexus has been just historically better on the corners. He's going to send it straight out through the bus stop. Contact between the two, and he gives the spot back. But he's going to definitely try it again through the source. He's got the speed. I know earlier on we were saying that we don't really see moves through the source very often, but we might see one here. Nope, he's going to just tuck right on in. And once again, we're pretty much, you can honestly kind of say that there's half the track where the Corvette is the stronger car, and another half where the Lexus is a better car. It's just who's going to maximize on the strength of the car the best. Because Aikkonen is at a disadvantage on the straights.
The Corvette is strong where it needs to be, strong in the passing zones, and that's really helping him out right now. But Aikkonen's got a big run.
Okay, so I see that someone says, I predict a Rotunda by Garatto. Haven't seen that, but I did see a pass onto Aretti from Aikkonen, and that is a move, and that is a position gained for the Finnish driver. He's going to go ahead and jump into fourth, but he's got a mountain ahead of him if he wants to go ahead and try to catch up and make it an all-Finnish podium.
We have GTFR first, second, and fourth. Probably as we expected.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I mean, for good reason too, because I mean, they're consistent, they're quick, they're fast, I mean, and they just don't get into a lot of trouble really. So I mean, Roysko has pretty much just been in the lead of this race from the get-go in that GTR, so the GTR is definitely a very strong car around the circuit. RekkasGG though is on the alternate strategy, so he will drop down the order eventually, and I think he'll probably have to pit in about a lap or two, I'd say. Maybe 3 at most, but probably 2 laps.
Be interesting to see when he wants to make another stop, unless he goes on a mediums. If he can go on a mediums, he probably can go to the end and make 1 stop in the next couple laps, but if it's soft, it's going to have to be this stop and another one in about 30 minutes.
Indeed, yeah, so just looking ahead at the calendars, we have a battle for 3rd place here, kind of now shaping up between Mazingers and RekkasGG. The next race on the calendar is next Saturday. We'll actually be right back here at Spa for 2 hours of Spa. This is in our International Endurance Championship, our multi-class series, so it'll be LMP1s and GT3s kind of battling it out now. But that'll be next week around the same circuit, so if you love Spa, you want another Spa day, don't worry, you'll get one next week. And it'll be a good race, because I mean, we're having some good racing here. Is Mazingers gonna just send it up the inside? He is gonna give it the old college try. Not quite gonna get it, but he's gonna go to give it an effort. He's gonna just go over the bollards there and just rally cross in that Mercedes, although Mercedes doesn't exactly have a rally pedigree. I don't think he wanted to to start one there in that GT3. But good defense by RekkasGG, good car positioning to kind of prevent the Spaniard from trying to get a move done here.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of late braking in this one, a lot of contact entering corners.
Indeed, but there's been no damage, which is nice. So no damage. So, I mean, well, at least in this particular battle, there's been damage elsewhere. I mean, Mazingers, I mean, he was making overtakes with damaged suspension for a while, so I mean, he's definitely got pace. He is right up the gearbox. He's going to try to send it up the inside. A little bit of a boop, a little bit of a love tap there, but he gets on through. That is just hard racing there from Mazingers. And I mean, it wasn't exactly clean. There was a good amount of bumping and contact, but he didn't send RekkasGG to the Shadow Realm, so that is good.
That was very aggressive. I don't see many moves through that corner. But made it stick, got it done.
And that's what matters in the end. I mean, he just made it stick and made it just go through, and he got it done, dusted, and delivered. So, fantastic stuff there from Mazingers, and RekkasGG is going to pit in next lap. He'll probably run out of fuel otherwise. He's going to cut it close on fuel now, and his soft tires are cooked. So I think even if Mazingers didn't use his tire advantage in that previous corner, I think he would have got it this lap just based on how much fuel he's got and tire life he has compared to the Finnish driver behind him. We have about a little over an hour left to go in this race, so it's been competitive. Been a lot of battles here. Hasn't really been a lot of moments of just kind of standstill where everybody's just super far spread apart. We had one-ish moment like that, but it wasn't really for a super long period of time. Now, I don't think Mazingers and RekkasGG is going to continue on. I don't think that battle is going to continue on. I think Mazingers is going to just use that tire life. But in the meantime, already is still within at least seeing distance of Conan. He can still see the back of that Lexus very well. Still within 1.2 seconds. So, once again, it's just really the Corvette and the Lexus trading blows in different parts of the track. Corvette's got it on straights. The Lexus has got it on corners. But if these two have any kind of incident, there's a very hungry BMW directly behind that could really shake things up.
Yeah, Flame Haze quietly kind of lurking right now. 1.3 seconds between Ikonen and Aretti. I'm not sure. Those two drivers very similar in pace. I'm not sure if that can just close up, but Flame Haze is definitely gaining on Aretti here. Under 2 seconds now.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, when it comes to Aretti, I think, I don't think this gap is good. Well, this gap is kind of increasing a bit. I don't think it's going to be like a massive gap. Like, I don't think we're going to see a massive fall off here from Aretti. I think it's going to be a gradual decline of just how much pace he's got. I think it's going to be a bit of a gradual decline through the corners. But somebody who is making ground is Flame Haze. He's making ground in that BMW, trying to close the gap up to the Corvette up ahead. As RekkasGG is into the pits, he is going to go ahead and shed those soft tires and get some more fuel into his Lexus. So we'll see how that plays out. But Roysko now has a 20-second lead ahead of Mazingers. And Mazingers can't really win that in the pits because, I mean, just look at the fuel differential between Roysko and Mazingers here.
Yeah, this is dream scenario for Roysko right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably in the best spot he can be in this race, honestly. I mean, he is 20 seconds ahead. Got about a minute or an hour 3 left to go. And he's got right about half a tank left compared to his nearest rival, who's got about maybe 10% less, I'd say, roughly around that ballpark. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. A potential 3-way fight here for third with Conan, Aretti, and Flame Haze. I think this could be a really fun battle to watch here in the coming moments.
around as Soja completes his pit stop. Wouldn't be surprised if this is mediums here, but I think it's going to stay on the soft tire. Yep, stays on the soft tire. Battle for 7th could be heating up. 1.2 seconds between Method and Arps. They've been battling all race long. That's for the AM lead.
And I mean, it's been an interesting race here for the AM drivers. Method has unfortunately been doing some. He's been in a few incidents himself. I mean, that incident like very early on with Garado and it was Mazingers and Flame Haze, and that massive incident that happened when we were in the twilight hours of the race, just dinking him around. But I gotta give a lot of credit to Arps here. He's in a setup that he doesn't like, in a car that he doesn't like, and he's been probably in the pits more often than anybody else. But he's still in 8th, and he's putting up a really good race here, despite all the calamity he's been through. He even thought about retiring from the race at one point, but he didn't, and now he's in 8th. He started in 11th. So he's made up 3 positions in this race. Granted, one of them was because of a disconnect from Watson. But, oh, look at this. Wow, Arps just kind of shot on through. Didn't really see that one. Yeah, just kind of shot straight through. Method's having issues.
Oh, Method
and he's out. So
That's
Ray Racing is out through 2 disconnects, and we are down to 9 cars on circuit. That's one battle done, and I think another one's just about to heat up here as Already and Flame Haze are about to go out of here very, very soon. I mean, Flame Haze has been on a mighty fine drive as well. So we'll see if he can go ahead and try to jump back up. He had a good qualifying, qualified 3rd, but just was involved in incidents as we're down to the final hour of the race here. An hour left to go. 2 hours have elapsed, and now we're down to the final hour of racing. 45 laps in on lap 46. I think this has the potential to be a really spicy race in about an hour's time.
Yeah, and Ikkonen's going to love to see Already and Hayes battling. That's going to allow Ikkonen to get a bigger gap. He's already got 2 seconds between him and Already, so he's definitely going to love to see Already and Flamemates get side by side here pretty soon.
Yeah, we know these drivers don't really care too much. They will go ahead and fight tooth and nail, just fighting it out, duking it out, and they will race each other hard. Like that's not even up for debate. They will race each other to the brink of sanity. They will push each other hard, try to force each other into mistakes, and they'll still probably keep it pretty clean though, I'd say. Probably a little bit of bumping and barging, I'd say, but I don't think we're going to see anybody getting sent, and I don't think we're going to see a safety car spawning in from these two.
So Garado just completed a pit stop down in P9, and Hill is in as well.
Yeah, so we'll see.
When we're going to see those pit stops.
Yep. Yeah, so Cameron Hill's into the pits. He's kind of had a quiet race ever since his earlier moments in the short and sweet Sabrina Carpenter machine. The number 65 on track. Gonna get a new set of tires on, and he's gonna go ahead and get back out after he gets a good amount of fuel, because he probably would have had like one more lap maybe on that fuel, and then now his car would have been stuck. You can't exactly run a gas can over to your team if you run out of gas. So if you run out of gas, then that's your race kind of done and dusted. I wonder if that's actually what happened to Method, because I think Method was actually pretty low on fuel around the time of his disconnect. So I wonder if his car just ran out of fuel and he just missed the pits, and then that was just kind of his race done and dusted.
Arps somehow has damage. He's got front bumper damage.
Huh. Indeed he does. I don't know how he got that. I'll see if I can find it via replay, maybe? I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to get that via replay. No. I can make an educated guess on what happened. My theory is, based on what that replay was, he might have bumped he might have just taken the inside of La Source a bit too tight and bumped it. That would give you front aero damage. Other than that, he hasn't really been near anybody since Method, and he didn't have damage when Method disconnected, so I don't know where the damage actually would have come from.
Yeah.
But we do know that Radasoja is catching him, though. He is definitely he's in a good spot. I mean, he does have better tires and fuel than the Lamborghini just up ahead. I mean, Radasoja did pit significantly earlier in that Lexus. So, I mean, he's got basically factory fresh rubber on. I mean, he's got the brand new softs, a good amount of fuel. So I think this pass will happen even before the pits, just based on the tire life alone.
It's really starting to heat up against already in Flame Haze. 5/10 now the gap between those two.
Yep, there's still a lot of racing still left here to go. I mean, there's things that can happen within 5 minutes, let alone 55 of them. So anything can happen here, and there is still so much to play for all these drivers. A battle for the podium spot could happen here. Conan has pulled away quite a bit, so his podium spot is looking pretty secure at the moment. But Flame Haze and Already are going to go ahead and duke it on out here for P4. And I mean, these two drivers have been having a pretty solid race. I mean, especially considering Flame Haze and what he's had to deal with. I mean, he had damage under a safety car, and then he got punted in the twilight hours. So, I mean, and Already had a bit of a wiggle there, so this might open the door wide on open. Flame Haze doesn't care if Already doesn't want any Girl Scout cookies. He wants that position, and he is going to take it. Good pass, good seizing of the opportunity. But can he keep it into the bus stop chicane as Already goes a bit wide there? We'll see. Is he going to try to hook it up the inside?
Oh, man.
Oh, that was no.
Big contact.
Big contact indeed. That was not going to work. Already did the right thing, though, sportsman-wise, and he went ahead and gave him the position back, but that could have ended really badly for both drivers, and that gave Conan a heck of a gap. And now 4.2 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say Ikonen would hate to see Flame Haze just easily get by Already, because, you know, that's going to keep the gap relatively the same, and we know Flame Haze is faster than Ikonen, but that contact definitely helped out Ikonen.
1,000,000%. And also, which I believe it's Husky in chat. He was saying that he actually likes Girl Scout cookies. Okay, you know what? Second hot take of the day. Most Girl Scout cookies just aren't that great. They're kind of overpriced sometimes. I mean, I understand that they're helping out. They're helping out young girls, giving them funding for some cool trips, and I like what the Girl Scouts do, and Boy Scouts too. I mean, I think touching grass is a nice thing, just don't do it with slick tires or else you're going to end up in a wall, like we've seen a few of the cars here do today. But like, outside of Thin Mints and maybe Samoans, Girl Scout cookies just aren't that great. And here's where I get fired.
Yep.
Which would actually be the second time I've been jokingly fired on stream. The second time was about like Diet Dr. Pepper or something like that. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan of Diet Soda and I got booted. Jokingly, of course, I still compete with that group, but yep, it's been official. Well, have fun with the rest of the season there, Taters. It's up to you now. All jokes aside, I wonder what's a bigger challenge here. Is it going to be a bigger challenge for Conan to go ahead and try to catch up to Mazingers, or for me to come up with the record-breaking most amount of hot takes in a single broadcast?
That's going to be a close one, I think.
I think I will let the hot takes kind of cool off for a bit of a moment. Mazingers is pretty close down in the pit, so he'll probably pit in this coming lap in the number 88 Mercedes. He's going to go through Rouge. He's not under any kind of pressure, really, but I know Conan is going to be charging in that Lexus to try to get something happening here, but it is going to be tricky. Flame Maze is kind of pulling away now in that BMW. Not by a lot. It seems like that gap is kind of ebbing and flowing, but I think overall he is pulling away quite significantly. Or at least bit by bit. I wouldn't say significantly. That's not exactly the right word to use for it, but the Corvette's got the straights again. I think the Corvette probably is the best car out in this field when it comes to straight line speed, but when it comes to the corners, the BMW's definitely got an edge here.
Yeah. Speaking of fuel mileage again, Aretti's got under a quarter of a tank left. The tires starting to go. I would expect a pit stop from him very soon.
Now, here's the question I'm going to pose to you now. If you were in Aretti's situation, would you actually try for an undercut and try to pit early and get on a new set of softs, top off your fuel, and then just go back out again and potentially try to jump somebody on strategy?
Well, I don't know if the softs can last 50 minutes.
You can maybe throw on the mediums.
That's true. Usually when I try and do undercuts, I run out of fuel at the end of the race, so I would probably wait a few laps here. Just try and maybe 3-4 laps and then come in a pit.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best call for that, honestly. Oh. So we found out what happened to the other Ray Racing car. Power outage. Yeah, so Method had a power outage, and that just ended his race. That's heartbreaking, honestly. I mean, I'm starting to wonder if he's in Florida, because that sounds like a Florida thing. Coming from a Floridian myself, a lifetime Floridian, that just sounds like a Florida thing. But, yep, Bazinger's in the pits, 4% fuel. I think he might chuck on a set of mediums and try to get to the end here. We'll see what he does. Gonna just pull on in and make the swap.
Another car. Oh, Arps is around. I was just gonna say Arps might come in and pit soon, and I just saw him spin around.
Oh, he's got 3 points of damage. Oof. Damage on the front and back, and the back left suspension. Yikes. I mean, he's gonna win in class at least. I mean, there's that. He can at least take some kind of solace away by winning in class. But I mean, hey, sometimes racing is about attrition and about survival, and sometimes just surviving is a feat in and of itself. I mean, the longest race I've ever done, I mean, I've done a 3-hour race before, but A, it wasn't a league race, and B, it was in Project Cars 3, so pretty different ballpark entirely. But I mean, even doing sometimes the daily races can be a bit tricky if you're not used to it. And if this is ARP's first league race in general, I think it's his first DRA race, but I don't know if it's his first actual league race. But having your first league race be a 3-hour race is pretty tough. So even finishing is an accomplishment. If you look at the 24 hours of Le Mans that they do in the real world, I mean, a lot of teams just especially a lot of the newer teams, say in the hypercar category, you have Aston Martin in there this year. They were happy just to finish.
Yeah. Pretty sure they got top 10 too.
Yeah, they've actually been doing really good in the practice sessions so far. They got top 3 in both practice sessions at the Lone Star Le Mans that's happening this weekend. So I guess V12s are good in straight line. Good to know. But anyways, so we are on lap 51 here. Well, at least Arps is on 51. Roscoe, our race leader, is in lap 52. 47 minutes left to go here in this race. Still a lot to play for here. We're back at the stage where a lot of people have spread out quite considerably. Oh, Gran Turismo had a bit of a spike there for me. Soja is catching up to Mazingers, but Mazingers, I think, is... Well, yeah, Mazingers actually just pit, so he's in a much better spot. So I think he'll kind of start to pull away here, bit by bit. He's on the fresher tires, he's got more fuel. Oh, he's in New York, if I recall correctly. Yeah, they're not as susceptible to random... at least random weather spikes, and there's a good chance it's not actually... there's a 50% chance it's not even weather related, so... I know Florida here, in Florida here, it's actually... It's supposed to be raining. It's been raining pretty much every day since Wednesday, I want to say, and it's supposed to be raining every day until next Friday. So, Florida, everybody. Which makes it really funny that Florida does not have, like, in Daytona, there's not a rain option for Daytona here in GT7.
There's not a rain option for any North American track, but yeah, I don't know why there's not a rain option for Daytona. There's a couple tracks that's really weird. Brazil too. Yeah,
I was just about to mention Interlagos. Like, Interlagos is like notorious for its bipolar weather. Same with Daytona. I used to live like an hour out of Daytona. Like, I was in Orlando for a while, so I mean, yeah, we got storms, we got hurricanes, and speaking of people getting things, RekkasGG got a move done onto a car that had arguably less, just like not as good resources. He's got worse tires right now. He's got worse fuel, but he still got the move done under Mazingers there. But is Mazingers trying to play the management game and trying to... I don't think he can get to the end. The softs probably won't get to the end, but is he trying a bit of a management game here to try to be conservative on his fuel? Because the Mercedes is pretty strong in a straight line.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I don't... that's a big ask, 45 minutes around this track for those soft tires.
I mean, you could get those to the end, theoretically, but your tires... You're going to be losing so much time just because your tires are going to be just dead, gone, deceased, shredded, more cooked in a well-done steak. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Already is into the pits, so he's going to go ahead and gas up. Now, I think he should throw on a set of mediums and just fuel up, and then he can probably get to the end of the race, or pretty close to the end of the race, I'd say. Actually, that's a bit of a maybe. He'd have to do some massive fuel conservation. So we'll see what tires he goes on. The field, once again, still spread out pretty nicely here. So once again, drivers can just kind of settle in and kind of just manage until the end of the race when they really got to kick it up a gear.
Flame Haze is around. Flame Haze just wrecked.
Oh, that is
no damage.
No damage, but oh. Well, here's the thing. He's about a minute ahead of RekkasGG, so I mean, but he'll probably lose some time in the pits. But oh, that is heartbreaking for a Flame Haze. It's been his day, but it's not been his day at the same time.
Yeah, he was catching Ikonen too a little bit.
But Royce goes into the pits. And actually, it's probably going to only be like another lap or so for Ikonen before he's back into the pits. Flame Haze is probably going to pit in this lap, I would imagine. So he'll shed those soft tires, throw on another set, gas up and then go is probably what he's going to do as we're down to the final 43 minutes left of the session. It's been a long race. It's been a trick race, but they're almost there.
Let's see Flame Haze coming up to the pit entry here. And he's going to stay out. Wow.
That is very surprising. Very surprising indeed.
Ikonen's going to take over the lead of this race. Flame Haze is going to jump Royce go. But he should be safe to Radosoja.
Yeah, so we'll see how this one does tend to play out. I mean, there's still a lot of racing left to go here, but yeah, Flame Haze. I'm actually pretty curious because I wonder if Flame Haze is trying to mitigate how much time he loses to Conan and maybe trying to prevent Conan from trying some kind of undercut-esque strategy, but I don't know. Because if you remember the last leg of the pit stops, Conan took less fuel than Flame Haze did. And Flame Haze has burned through a bit more of his fuel, so yeah, I don't know if this is going to play out between these two. I think without a doubt Roysko is going to probably just pop right back into the lead of this race once he's pit. I think he's going to try to go to the end because he threw on a set of mediums. Or if all else, he'll just do a splash and dash, get a good amount of fuel, and then just go back out without swapping tires.
Yeah, Roysko's definitely going to try and go to the end on those tires. And he can experiment with the strategy too. He's, you know, like 20 seconds in the lead, so he's not really has much to lose when it comes to the pit stops. So he can afford to kind of bleed that time.
Indeed, yeah, he can definitely afford to kind of just. He's got wiggle room essentially. He does that. There's blue flags just up ahead, so that is probably ARPS. I'd say ARPS. He would have to get out of the way. Yep, it is ARPS, and he actually did get past. So actually, he might be going after Garada. I think Garada is the car directly ahead. Yep, it certainly is. So Garada, I mean, he's had a kind of a rough race too today, honestly. I mean, he's been involved in a handful of incidents. His Porsche really just seems unsettled. So when your car is unsettled and it just likes to snap a lot, and he has already been through a good few crashes, I mean, your confidence is going to take a hit, and you need confidence to get any solid pace out of your car. But the wild thing is now is that Conan goes for another lap, while Flame Haze makes it to the pits on 1%.
I think Conan can make another lap. I think he's got just a little bit enough fuel. But I'm not exactly sure what advantage this is going to gain him. But we'll have to see.
We will see. I think Flame Haze made the better call here, I think, but we'll see. I mean, here's the thing though too, is we know Conan's a fast driver. So we'll just see how he's going to manage things. He might even mess with his fuel map too to make sure he can get it, so yeah, I don't know actually how this is going to turn out.
Be interested to see what tires Flame Haze puts on as well, kind of maybe be able to get to the end on softs at this point.
Maybe. Mediums would definitely get him to the end at this stage. 100%. But does he want to try to... It's going to be a gamble either way. Either he gambles on the softs and tries to push them to the end, but they're going to be screaming. Or he can comfortably go for a set of mediums but lose a bit of that pace. We'll see what he comes out on. We'll know very soon. As his car rolls on out of the pits. It is currently a finish 1, 2, 3. But how long will that stay is the question. He went on softs, so yeah, he's gonna try to maybe get those softs to the end.
And Aretti's gonna jump him as well.
Yeah, so this could actually maybe be a podium for this might be a podium actually for whatchamacallit, for Aretti.
Wondering if maybe Hill's gonna play a little bit of team games. He's still got a pit. But he's got half a tank of fuel left, and maybe we might try and back up and hold up Flame Haze a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we got to remember that. I mean, granted, to my knowledge, there's not a teams championship here at DRA, but there is. I mean, there's a lot of teams active in this series, so I mean, you have 3 people from the same team, pretty much all together. And they could just back people up, like you said. They could work together and try to make it a finish 1, 2, 3.
Well, Ikonen barely made it to the pits.
Yeah, 0%. That you know how heartbreaking that would have been if he just straight up lost or ran out of fuel and couldn't quite make it into the pits. A risky way
Curious.
to end a race, but man, that could have been terrifying.
Yeah, curious to see what RekkasGG does. Half a tank of fuel, softs, coming up to 30 minutes left.
Yeah, there's also a good chance here that Conan could not even, he doesn't even need to take a full tank of fuel. I don't think he could probably he'll get close, but he might just want to give himself, yeah, he went to 86%, so he's going to come out. He's probably still going to be ahead of Flame Haze, I'd say. So I think that was probably the strategy decision from the get-go for Conan. He could stay out an extra lap, but there'll be enough of the race left to go where he didn't need to take a full tank, and he's out ahead of Already and Flame Haze. So he jumped up by a long shot, 30 odd seconds. Now it's trickling down quite a bit, but he jumped those cars by a pretty good margin as Cameron Hill is going to try to get past his teammate. These two have bumped and barged into each other in the past, just in this race alone. So we'll see if it's going to be a clean overtake attempt. It is a purple sector though for Cameron Hill. So we'll see if he can go ahead and jump his teammate and potentially go for that fastest lap.
He's really close. He kind of lifted off at the end of the Camel straightaway, so I wonder if maybe it's a teeny bit of fuel saving, or just not trying to push the issue on his teammate.
He also probably has that kind of information kind of like in the back of his mind, like, okay, yeah, we've run into each other before. So there's a good chance where I don't want to run into my teammate again because I could have fastest lap at least. So, interesting stuff happening throughout the circuit. Mazingers is catching up to RekkasGG, so we'll see. Once again, we'll see if RekkasGG can make it to the end. Not very likely, considering the amount of fuel and tires he's got left. He could try to back up Mazingers into Icona like we kind of talked about earlier, but we will see how successful that's going to be, because the Lexus doesn't have straight line speed compared to the Mercedes, and the Mercedes is pretty much just fresh out of the gates just about. It's got, I mean, newer tires and more fuel, so the Mercedes can't afford to push a bit more to try to get past this Lexus of RekkasGG before he pits.
I think Mazingers, yeah, his fuel looks good. He should be able to make it to the end. Interested to see when Hill's going to come in, though.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. I'm not too sure exactly when. It's going to be sooner rather than later, certainly. He's not going to make it for the last 34 minutes of this race on just that set of fuel. So we're just going to go ahead and do a quick run through the grid real quick, as we are down to almost the final half an hour left of racing here at Spa. It is Roysko in P1, followed by RekkasGG in P2. Mazinger is just directly behind in P3, less than a second away, so this could be a fun battle to come back to. Conan P4, Already P5, Hill P6, Flame Haze in P7, Garado P8, Arbs in P9, and we have lost both of the raid racing drivers due to just disconnects and a power flicker. So that's been the race so far. I know I asked you about it when we were at the 30 minutes, or when we were 30 minutes into the race, but how do you feel now that we're about at the final 30 minutes? How do you think this race has transpired?
Well, we've seen a lot of different strategies. We've seen a lot of chaos, but we've seen some big comebacks like Mazinger, and we've seen some different strategy like RekkasGG, but I think no one's got anything for Roysko here, and very interesting what RekkasGG does is Mazinger looks to the outside here. Gonna maybe get the move done, yes. RekkasGG goes in the pits.
I wonder if that was enough, though. Enough of a gap between Conan and Mazingers. I mean, there is a gap there. It's about less than 2 seconds, though. as we are about 32.5 minutes left to go in this race. It's still cloudy outside. No rain. There's no rain in this race, so that's not going to be a factor, although weather would be an interesting factor for today's race. But no rain here at Spa. The drivers are still going to go ahead and get on through on the dry tires, and some of them have definitely pitted in for probably the last time here. Rado Soja definitely pitted in for the last time. He's only going to fill up to about 32% of fuel before going ahead and swapping tires and just getting back out there to complete the race. Oh, he is actually getting a good amount of fuel left. He actually had a lot of fuel still in the car, so I'm kind of curious to see how much you feel he gets up to. I wouldn't say more than the 70s. Yep, 76. Good amount of fuel to get him to the end. Probably a little bit of extra just so he can push if he wants to and not overstress himself, but I mean, once again, anything can happen in racing.
Already really struggling right now for grip. Seen him go wide a few times here.
We'll see how this one goes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly the team structure at Short and Sweet, but I think they need to get a team order here, just to go ahead and Hill just go through. But Hill's got to pit in sooner, so it's gonna lose for this team at the moment, because at one end of it you can you can throw some team orders in and tell Hill to get through, but Hill's gonna have to pit sooner in anyway. So I mean, what would you do at this point?
I'd let Hill through, because they're both losing time right now to Flame Haze. Flame Haze has been gaining a few tenths last couple laps, and I know Hill's got a pit, but he's clearly faster, and this bump drafting isn't really working.
Yeah, it works better when it comes to NASCAR. I don't think it works super well in this case, but there's still a lot of things that can happen, as Hill actually does come into the pit, so he's just going to get out of the trouble, get out of the traffic, and then slap on probably another set of soft tires to get him to the end. But it's all to play for here. Still a good amount of racing to go. I think we've pretty much lost any gaps we've had so far. Maybe there's a close battle here. Yeah, no, everybody's pretty far spread out. The closest thing is Garado and Arps, I think, right now. So still a good amount of racing left to go. We're down to the final 30 minutes of the race here. We have lost 2 drivers, and we are down to 9. And we'll just see how the rest of this race finishes.
Might see Flame Haze close up here to a ready. Gap is kind of going back and forth here, but that could be a battle to watch towards the end of this race.
Indeed, yeah. So we'll see how this... I mean, Flame Haze has been pretty quick all day, so we'll see if he can go ahead and catch up here in the final 30 minutes. I mean, there's still a lot of potential, still a lot of possibilities, still a lot of unpredictability that could happen here in this race. So yeah, there's a lot of people hoping that, or I say a lot, but there's one person in chat hoping that Mazingers could go ahead and try to win this race. He's in PJ at the moment. He'd have to close in about a lap a minute, so, or about a second a lap, roughly, or even more than that. You're probably gonna get about 2 laps, or 2 seconds per lap faster if he wants to catch Roysko.
Well, I've got bad news for that person who wants Mazinger to win. He's losing time to Ikonen right now. Ikonen gained a couple tenths that lap. Mazinger might be saving fuel, actually.
Which is very possible. I mean, it would save you a good amount of time to not have to pit again. Garado's into the pits, and same with Arps. Arps is on... Well, Arps is in a better spot, but he may be just trying to get ahead of Garado through the pits, so... I think Arps could have made it to the end, personally. Garado maybe not, but Arp's definitely could have made it to the end, I think. Yeah, okay. This is gonna be an interesting one because you don't need that much fuel. I don't think you need 87% to get to the end. Maybe the Lamborghini does. Grotto's actually got to top off on fuel.
I don't know why Grotto's topping off on fuel here.
Yeah, so Grotto's topping off. Arps got close to topping off. I still think he took more fuel than he needed. You could probably get off at like 50% of a tank, I'd say. But fuel does spread out quite a bit here. Actually, I think the closest battle might be Grotto and Arps. Maybe. No, I don't think so. I don't think so, not anymore. I guess we could watch Flame Ace versus Already, because that could be a close one to call, but...
Ikkonen's gained almost a second on Mazinger here. He's down at 3.3, so I think Mazinger is definitely trying to save fuel.
Definitely. But, I mean, it could work out, but here's the thing, though. The Mercedes actually does kind of work out in Mazinger's favor a bit, because the Mercedes is good on straight line speed, so if you do fuel saving, if you adjust your fuel map, you might even out to the same kind of top end that the Lexus has, but you're still going to lose time on the corner, so it's an interesting position to be in, but I don't know how successful it's going to be, to be honest.
Yeah, gap down to 2.7. This is going to be a battle in a couple of laps.
Yeah, he's short shifting a lot, kind of like what we were seeing earlier, but man, he is actually doing it quite a bit. Yeah, he is seriously short shifting.
Flame Haze has his gap down at 2.3.
I'm watching his gearbox right now. He is short shifting heavily to try to save that fuel.
Mazinger?
Yeah, Mazinger. Interesting stuff here.
I usually try and go for more of a short shifting method than messing with the fuel map. I think you start messing with the fuel map, you lose more time than if you're short shifting, but short shifting isn't as effective.
Yeah, agreed. Because the thing is, right, if you're really gotta do one or the other. If you do both, then you're really in a world of trouble there. So you really can't try to mess with your fuel map and short shift simultaneously. That just doesn't work like that. You'll really put a massive hamper on any kind of pace you might have. On some laps, you might even be slower than the GR4 cars if you try to do that method. As we ride on board now with Ikkonen here, we'll see if he's setting a personal best lap, so he's 2/10 up on his previous best lap, which was on lap 57. So he's gonna go to try to push it to the limit. We'll see if he can get the move done. He's gonna get really close to the back of Mazingers. Now Mazingers has to defend like his life depends on it. We'll see, is he gonna try to send it around the outside at the bus stop chicane? Going side by side into the bus stop chicane. He doesn't have enough real estate to do it. He doesn't need to force the issue. He's got the upper hand. Mazinger's in a worse spot on fuel and on tires, so I think for Ikkonen, he knows it's just a matter of time. He's not going to really try to fight his teammate. His teammate's about 30 seconds ahead, but it could still be a finish 1-2 here.
I think he's going to get him at the top of the hill here. He's really close. He's going to get a run up here. Yep.
And he's got it. For now, at least, we'll see if he can hold it on, because Mazinger did have the inside line favored, but nope. Ikkonen's going to go ahead and get the move done and dusted. The finish driver up in the second.
Yeah, and if I'm Mazinger, I'm not going to try and really force the issue. There's 11.7 to Already, and Already's going to be falling down to Flame Haze, so might just worry about getting it to the end.
A podium is definitely not a bad result at all for Mazinger because he didn't start super high up the order, so getting a podium here would do wonders for him. Speaking of Flame Haze, we'll check back on him. First, we're going to check in on Cameron Hill, who is about 24 seconds away from his, well, actually, where is his teammate? Oh, his teammate's way up here, so. Flame Haze is catching, though. About 1.3 seconds now is the gap between them. The last lap for Flame Haze was a 2:17.6 versus a 2:18.2. So Flame Haze is definitely making up some really strong ground here. He's probably going to make it without making another pit stop. Might have to do a little bit of fuel saving. But I think overall he can probably pretty easily take fourth away from Already.
I think Already might be saving fuel because he's kind of in the same fuel situation as Mazinger.
We will see. It'll be tricky for these drivers to get to the end. They can do it, but they're going to have to really do some. They're going to lose positions, honestly. They really are. Flame Haze is actually already pretty much closed up the gap to Already here. Already at 2:18.3 versus a 2:17.6. The consistency on display from Flame Haze has been pretty impressive to watch. I mean, he's been in the 2:17 since 57, and it's actually from lap 59 onwards, he's just been getting quicker each lap. So it went from a 2:17.83 to a 7:99 to a 6:79 to a 6:19 now. So he's making up time pretty much every single lap. But he did lose a little bit of time though on Air Rouge, so that could be something worth noting. But I mean, you still got 20 minutes left, so you got about 10 laps left to go here on the track. So in 10 laps, anything can happen.
RekkasGG. Oh, that's a lap car. Never mind. I was going to say RekkasGG's caught up to ARPS, but ARPS is the lap car.
He's actually splitting up a battle between the laps cars with ARPS in P8 and then Grotto in P9. Only 1.3 seconds separates these two. Grotto taking a very aggressive line over the curbs in turn 5. He's going to go ahead and try to put the pressure on the ARPS. He's actually gained a good amount of time there. It was about 1.3 seconds to now about half a second, a little bit more, but I think Grotto has a good chance to jump up into P8 here and get within that top 8 and not finish behind one of the AM cars here. So it's going to be a fight. It's crazy to think about that. Only P6 is lapping P8 to P9. Just shows you how strong that RekkasGG's been even in P6. So Cameron Hill is about 24, a little less than 24 seconds away. Now it is 24 seconds away from RekkasGG. RekkasGG up ahead is about 33 seconds away from Flame Haze. He's got to make up a lot of time if he wants to close that gap. I think he's just going to focus on staying ahead of Cameron Hill for the time being. What about Flame Haze though? Where is he? He's about a second, or a little under a second behind already now. Let's see if he can get him this time. We know the Corvette is a straight line beast. Probably the best car on the track at the moment. Probably the best in class right now in that GT3 for top speed. So Flame Haze, he's going to try to get him on corners, which already has not been making it easy for him. But the tire difference is staggering between these cars.
And even though Already's not quick, and at least right now, saving fuel, falling back into Flame Haze, still gaining on Mazinger, which that gap is down to 9.1 seconds.
The gap is pretty small now, so we'll see. He's got to get him on the corners. That's really the only way you can beat this Corvette, is you have to beat it on the corners. You cannot beat it in a straight line. If there is a car that can beat it on a straight line, I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see. I mean, the LS V8 in that Corvette is a very strong engine. Very powerful V8. See if he could go ahead and make it around. But Flame Haze is really going to put the pressure on now. He's got to really try to... He's got to try to force already to use up more resources than he wants to. He's got to try to make him use up more fuel, use up more tires. Got to try to make him use more to avoid getting past, and then he can pass it maybe on a pit stop. 16 minutes left to go in this race here. About little under 17 minutes left to go here. So the drivers are still a fair amount of racing, but that clock is dwindling down to nothing. The clock is running down bit by bit by bit. We'll see if Flame Haze can make the move into bus stop chicane. Not enough real estate. He's not going to try to force an issue either. He's going to think about it, but he doesn't want to force something that could potentially ruin his race as well. Because he's already not in a position he wants to be in. He would love to be in that top 3 where he started, but he's going to have to try to at least try to go for that 4th place position. That is definitely going to be his main goal for right now, I'd say.
Already got really tail happy off turn 1. That might open the door for a run down the Camel Straight. Yeah, sure enough. Flame Haze with a run. Looks... Where's he gonna go? He goes inside. And he is not quite clear. Now he is. A little bit of contact. Gets the move done.
A little bit of bumping and barging, but he got it done. That's the important thing for him, is that he got it done with no damage on his car. I think he's had enough damage on his car for one day. He would probably rather not damage his car even further, but he's got the position now. Now let's see if he can pull away from this Corvette, because that's going to be a tricky thing too, is trying to pull away from the Vette. The Vette's got less fuel on board, so the car is going to be lighter, so it's going to be a bit more nimble throughout the corners, but it doesn't have as much tire grip as Flame Haze just up ahead, so the gap is extending quite a bit. Already getting closer and closer to about a second away. So we'll see if he can go ahead and keep that gap. If he can extend the gap, we'll see. It looks like Flame Haze right now is extending the gap. I'm trying to go and lock in P4 in this race as we're under 15 minutes away from the checkered flag.
Well, it's getting... Flame Haze gained about a second after getting past already, and only a few corners on Mazinger. That gap down to 7.5 seconds. It's going to be under 7 seconds before the end of the lap.
Oh, he's pitting!
So I guess he couldn't go to the end.
I think he might have been able to, but that's an interesting pit call from Mazingers, because now he's gonna drop behind already in Flame Haze and maybe RekkasGG.
Where is RekkasGG? Yeah, RekkasGG's definitely gonna get past him.
Unless he takes a splash and dash, or maybe just a tire swap. Because I mean, you can make, if you don't take fuel and tires, you could get a pretty quick pit stop. If you do one or the other, then your pit stop's not going to be too bad, but we'll see if it's just a tire swap. No, it's both. It's tires and fuel. So yeah, RekkasGG is definitely going to get past Mazingers here, so not a lot, but if you wanted Mazingers to get a win, unfortunately he's out of podium contention even at this stage, unless there's something massive that happens towards the front.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to have the time to get to RekkasGG as long as RekkasGG keeps it on the island.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he can go ahead and hold on. He's got fresher tires though, but once again, you got 12.5 minutes left to go in this race, and I just don't think you got time honestly, to go ahead and go for it. I just don't know if he's got the time for it to try to get a pass done. I think that might be all she wrote for Mazingers here. I mean, even if he does catch Radasoja, he's not catching Already. Already's probably going to stay out to the end. Probably almost everybody here is going to try to stay out to the end. I would say, looking through, yeah, I think everybody's pretty much just going to go to the end here. On 12 minutes left.
Shame. Yeah, that's a shame for Mazinger too, because he was having a really good run. Looking like maybe he was going to get third, but...
Yeah, that is, yeah, that's really unfortunate though, because like you said, Mazingers was on some good pace, but just unfortunately just got the wrong strategy, and it just kind of put his chances of getting a good result in the bid or getting a podium. But here's a battle now. This is a battle to not finish last on track between Garato and Arps, the Italian driver trying to defend against the British driver. We'll see if the Porsche can hold on the Lamborghini. They're going into the bus stop chicane. Arps is thinking about a move. He's thinking about sending one around the outside of the bus stop chicane. Not enough real estate. Not going to get it done. Maybe through Eau Rouge. There's a good chance that he can get the move done there. But Arps having a bit of a snap. He's been complaining about that Lamborghini throughout the day, and he's just not been super happy with how the Lamborghini has been treating him today. Maybe if he's part of the IEC round next week, maybe he'll have a bit of a better run at it, but we'll just have to see. I mean, you can't have a good race every single race, so sometimes it's just not your race. And also another thing too is, granted, he is the only driver that is not in the pro category on track at the moment, so this sort of thing isn't super irregular to see a pro driver just ahead of the AM driver. Ten minutes left to go here on the track. We will see how this is going to go ahead and play out. There's 10 minutes left to go, so you got about 4 to 5 laps roughly left on track here. We'll see if there's going to be any major position changes. I think the only battle on track at the moment is between Arps and Garado. This is getting pretty spicy though as a battle. They're still fighting tooth and nail. I mean, they've been fighting tooth and nail for who knows how long.
Ooh, that was a good fake by Arps.
Very good indeed. He gets the pass done and dusted, but what a move from the British driver. That was excellent.
Yeah, Garado just doesn't have a lot of grip right now.
He's another driver that's been kind of struggling with his car on race pace pretty much throughout the entire day. He's been struggling pretty much the entire day as well. So, I mean, you pretty much have the two drivers who've been struggling the most with their setup at the back of the field. And that just shows you how important a good setup is when you're racing. If your car is not dialed in, it's not set up the way you really want it to, then your race is just going to be a tough one. Now, here's the thing, though, that really puts this into perspective. The car that's about to lap Arps and Garado is not one of the front runners. It's not one of the midfields. It's the car that's directly ahead of them in positioning. It is Cameron Hill, who is a lap ahead, soon to be 2 laps ahead of this pair. This has just not been the race for Arps and Garado. That is for certain. They've been having a bit of a tough time at it. But yeah, once again, that just shows you how crucial it is to get a good setup on your car before your race. Oh, yep, that's a big snap there from Arps. That's going to allow Garado to potentially get a move, but Arps shuts that door, not even letting him a chance to go on and get through. They're going to have to let Cameron Hill through, though. So this battle may be temporarily postponed. Aggressive defense there from Arps. Arps is trying to prevent Garada from getting past. He's doing a good job so far, but yeah, I mean, look at this. This is almost excessive amounts of weaving on Circuit. Just trying to prevent the pass from happening. I mean, it's kind of tricky because I know typically you really only want to move like once or twice and then just let it happen. But Arps is moving several times trying to just defend. Like I said earlier, it's borderline almost too much.
Yeah, Arp's kind of overdriving the car right now too. He's going really deep in the braking zones.
Yeah, so I mean, I know each driver tends to race differently, and I know different drivers have different driving styles, and even the cars too. There's different ways you have to kind of drive the car to get the max out of it, but there comes a point where it just is a little excessive, and I think it's too much. Like, I mean, you make two moves, you defend twice, and then pretty much off you go. Yeah, so I think Arps he's trying to finish last, which, I mean, he can't finish last anyway because there's 2 retirements, 2 disconnects in the race, so I mean, he can't finish last anyway, but
he tagged the inside wall in the source. He's got 2 points of damage now.
That's gonna make things really easy for Garado to get a pass done here. We did have somebody join the session, but it's kind of, you're about 2 hours and 55 minutes late for the race there, but we're glad you got a front row seat to the action. But Garado is gonna try to close that gap. The lights are flashing. Garado's gonna try to go to get the pass done. Arps has got damage. Arps is gonna position his car in a way. It wasn't the kind of weaving we saw earlier, so it was just genuinely good car placement for Arps to really defend, but does he really need to defend when he's got 2 points of damage like that? Is that necessary? I mean, I'm guessing for him it is, because it's pretty much the difference between what is essentially last place on track and not being last place on track, but they gotta let Cameron Hill through anyway, because he's about to put him 2 laps down. Just checking back in with the rest of the field. Still looks like the closest battle on track at the moment is going to be between Arps and Garado. But I think this battle may end soonish. Depends on how tough Arps is going to be on defense. Garado is going to try though, but Garado doesn't really have a lot of pace in that Porsche either. That Porsche has been very tail happy throughout the entirety of the day. It's just something, it just doesn't have enough rear downforce, or maybe the ride height's not correct or something. I mean, maybe brake balance could also be a thing, because those are the only 3 things you can tune on these cars in this series. And Cameron Hill went off, I think. Yeah, it went a bit wide there. I mean, they're getting the blue flag now. They could get penalized for it. So they got to give way to Cameron. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They got to give way to Cameron. They got to let him on through. Because otherwise, I mean, that could be post-race penalties for both of these drivers, although it couldn't really hurt them much worse than they already are. But maybe that's why they're not even bothering to kind of let him on through. It's just because, well, I'm focusing on my fight. And if we both get penalized for it, then what's our harm?
Garado's got to run here.
He's got to run. He does. Contact between the two. Oh, Arps is pushing him wide. He's pushing him onto the grass a bit, but he gets the move done before the chicane, and that's when you want that move done and dusted. But, oh, that could have been rough.
That was very close.
Very close indeed. That was rough. Is Arps going to try to fire it down the inside? He does try to go on the inside. Sketchy stuff, but it doesn't work out. Now he's actually impeding Hill.
Oh my goodness.
And Hill actually pushed him wide. So Arps, like, look, I respect every driver. All these drivers here are better than I am. But, I mean, I know that's also kind of a tricky part of the track, but there is no need to defend against Hill. He is 2 laps ahead of you now, so I guess now fully 1, maybe, yeah, 1 lap ahead.
Oof.
Oh, this defense is just insane.
Oh my lord, this is dangerous.
This could just take them both out. I mean, they're both basically already out of the race from the get-go. They're already about a lap down, but still. I mean, I'm all for giving the drivers the benefit of the doubt and giving them some hard racing, but there's a point where it's just obsessive. Like, there's just a point. I just don't know any other ways to put it. It just comes to a point. Good thing Cameron Hill got past without any incident. Arp's having a bit of a snap there of oversteer through the bus stop chicane. Garato's really close to him, and Garato doesn't have damage, so I think Garato has a really good shot trying to get a pass done here against Arps. He's gonna shake for a move maybe on the inside, but he decides against it. He knows that trying to go deep into Rouge is not usually a good idea, but he's gonna have a fantastic run here. Are we gonna see a pass maybe on a Rouge? That is the question at hand here.
This has got a couple chances, that's it. This, depending on how much time they lose, this might be the last lap for them. This is really going to be his last shot.
He's going to send it around the outside. Around the outside he goes. It's a drag race down into the chicane. The Porsche's got the speed. And he's got it for now, but we'll see if Arps goes ahead and tries to dive it up the inside. Not this time around. Garato might have the move done and dusted for now, and maybe for the rest of the race. We'll just have to see.
Looks like it's the final lap for our leader as well, Roysko.
Yep, it is the lead. It is the final lap for Roysko. You got 15 seconds left of regulation, and then it's going to be the final lap, so this race is going to be done and dusted here very, very shortly. But what a race it's been, Tater.
Yeah, it's been a perfect blend of racing, chaos, and strategy. It's been probably the best race so far of the season.
Oh, I would 100% agree, although I missed Bathurst, so I didn't get to see how Bathurst went, but I was there for the prologue. But yeah, this has been a very good race. Flame Maze will be the first one across the line. He'll come home in P3. He started in P3, and eventually he fought tooth and nail, but he did end up finishing in P3. A good drive here from the newcomer. Flame Haze doing a fantastic job here. Already he's going to come home in P4. He'll be the next one across the line. And here we go. We'll just go ahead and see. We're going to ride on board now for the rest of this lap with Roysko now. Roysko is going to go ahead and he's going to win this race. It's been a dominant drive here for him. I'm actually going to jump back down because this battle might be coming up here soon. But Garata did get the move done onto Arps, and that's going to be the end of the race for those two. They ended lap 71. And Roysko is going to go in and actually, the only drivers on the lead lap were actually Itkonen and, well, Itkonen and Roysko are going to finish off on lap 73 technically, but it's been a strong drive for these drivers, and I mean the GT Finland racers taking out a P1 and P2. It has been a strong race for them. And he's got the bus stop chicane left to navigate now. 21 seconds of a gap. And here it comes, coming across the line now. He's got one more corner left to navigate. And here we go. Roysko wins the FUELCAN.SHOP 3 hours of Spa. That is the race done and dusted. The only driver left to come across the line is his teammate, who himself is approaching the bus stop chicane. And that is going to be the end of the race here for all of our drivers. And in P2, it is Itkonen. Very good job. The GT Finland racers are P1 and P2. That is the end of the race here. And your winner is this man right here. It is Roysko. What a drive from him. Just going to go ahead and take a look through these drivers real quick. There is our drivers. We did lose two. We lost both of the Ray Racing drivers. And we're going to go ahead and take a look. It is Roysko, Idkinen, Flamehaze, Reddy, Radasoja, Mazinger, Sea and Garado. And then ARPS, and then we lost Watson and Method Jr. to round things off here. So that is going to be the end of the race. I'm going to go ahead and save the race replay. And then, yeah, any final thoughts, Tata, before we wrap up the stream here?
No, just the fact that Roysko put on an absolute textbook show of how to run a perfect race. I mean, he got the good strategy, he got the pace, just well-deserved it.
Indeed, yeah, very good drive from a lot of the field here. But that is going to wrap things up here at the FUELCAN.SHOP. 3 hours of Spa brought to you by the Discord Racing Association. It has been myself, Patrick Coleman, aka Rekkas, alongside Taters for us in this race here today. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. We'll see you guys next week for Spa once again. This time in our International Endurance Championship in multi-class racing. Have a good night.